Welcome back to WRPL, the podcast where we talk about all the things we are watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name's Ben.
And I'm Steve.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing well. I'm hopped up on the coffee and
multiple
cupcakes. Sugar Rush is a pumping. Let's do this.
And it will continue later as well.
Mm-hmm.
We have a few things to talk about. We're going to talk about Rob Zombie's new release, The Munsters. I know we touched on it last week, but don't worry, darling, since you've seen it.
Yep.
We got some trailers, a little bit of content consumed through the week, and then we're probably going to end with a special event, a special game.
Yeah. A little sweet treat for you and us.
For all the creamies out there.
For our 50th episode.
Yes. So spoilers for everything. I don't think much of this is important about spoilers, but spoilers, we're going to drink a bunch of cream soda later.
Yeah.
Got some options. Not as much as I wanted. Not even some of the brands I wanted. But hey, the cream soda is not readily available in most places.
And shocking to no one, we're not sponsored by any of these cream sodas, so our reviews will be honest ones.
Yes. So let's talk about a few small things that came up in the news before we get to some of our main topics.
Let's do it.
So Wolverine's going to be in Deadpool 3. How do you feel about that?
I get it. I don't mind it. But it's like when you go out on the high that was Logan, it kind of seems like that was your goodbye to the character and you had your shot to be in a Deadpool movie. Did they both come out the same year, or did Deadpool come out like the year before? I mean, it was a little close.
Enough,
yeah. But as I enjoy their dynamic, and I'm sure it'll be fun, and I'll be happy that this exists if they just put him in the suit.
Yeah.
Just put him in the yellow suit.
I think we will, and it'll be a joke like, this looks ridiculous. I'm not wearing this mask. Ha, ha, ha.
I mean, I think you could make it look cool.
For sure.
Maybe not the headpiece.
That's tricky.
Or like he puts on the headpiece, Deadpool makes a good joke. He's like, yeah, you're right. And then he tosses it, but he can still wear the yellow suit.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, cool. But Logan's a great ending to a superhero character, especially one that he played for 10 plus years in multiple movies. So it's like, I didn't need him to come back, but if he's going to come back, I think this is the movie to do it in.
For sure. Like two things I think on it. Patrick Stewart he said the same thing. Logan was going to be the last time he was Professor X, and then he came back for Doctor Strange. You know, these characters aren't so precious that we have to hold them in such high regard. No. We're going to get them recast anyway, so why not? Who cares?
But it's the idea that sometimes that you can have something good, and yeah, you could do more, but you choose not to, and just like, look, we had this thing, it was beautiful, and we decided to say goodbye, and we won't do it again. I don't know if you were going to touch on this, but the director of the Jurassic World series, one of them, was just like, they shouldn't have made any more Jurassic Park movies after the first one. And I kind of agree.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we had this hit, we made it a franchise, and we kept making a worse and worse thing.
Yeah. They didn't realize what they had to capitalize on. They just thought having dinosaurs in a thing is enough. And for the 90s and the early 2000s, absolutely, that was enough, even if the quality wasn't as good as the first. But now you got to do more. And when they set themselves up to have a quality story with dinosaurs in it, they squander it. So, yeah.
Jurassic Park has a chokehold on all things dinosaur, and so like just do original stuff.
We have 3 Pinocchio movies this year of varying quality. One hasn't released yet. Like, anybody could touch it. Dinosaurs aren't like, oh well, they're not in public domain, you can't touch dinosaurs. Anybody can do dinosaurs. Let's have some more dinosaurs. You could do more horror and bloody violence, and then you could have your silly comedies and action adventures. But like, why can't other studios do dinosaurs?
I mean, this is America, but that's a funny concept of just like dinosaurs not being in the public domain.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you have to reach 300 million years old. Not they're only 250, so we got another 50 million years, and then we can use the Brachiosaurus or whatever.
Last thing for Deadpool, I'm kind of happy he's in it, just because I don't care about Deadpool anymore. Like, the first one was fine; it definitely did what it needed to do. Second one's just more the same. And to get me interested in a Deadpool 3, you're going to need something like this. So yeah, I'm okay with it.
I'm really interested to see like what the talks were for that. Like if there was any sort of, you know, I mean, I'm sure there was like negotiation and all that stuff. But I just mean like, was it Ryan Reynolds calling Hugh and like, hey man, I'm making this movie. You and I were best buds. We've been having this feud for the past however many years.
Mm-hmm.
Come join this thing. And if he was just like, all right, cool, man, or if he was just like, nah, man, I don't want to come back. Like I ended on my own terms, and it was a great film, and everyone loved it. And then Disney comes in and just like, hey, here's $50 million or whatever. It's like, all right, fuck
Okay,
it.
cool.
It's just like,
do I have to get nearly as ripped as I did for the other ones? No? Okay, cool. I can wear like a big hoodie the whole time.
yeah, I just, Patrick Stewart coming back, it's just like, oh, that's fun that they brought him in, but to also be like in it for 2 minutes and dies, like, oh well.
And if this has something to do
like,
with
who cares?
the actual recasting of the X-Men and getting the X-Men in the MCU, if it helps, get a segue to that, I'm okay. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Also, in not letting things die and having a good version and having to keep doing things over again. Did you know that Let the Right Ones In has a show on Showtime coming soon?
I do. I think I did watch the trailer, but I didn't really care. So
And I just don't know why you have to do this. They did the original, it's great. They did the remake, also great. They have their own little variations. What more can you do with this? Because it seems like it is the exact same story again. It's just going to be drawn out. So this is unnecessary. I don't have access to Showtime, so I probably won't be seeing it.
Most people don't.
No. But yeah, why? Not necessary.
Not for me. Not for me.
All right, let's get into some of our consumables. I want to talk about TikTok real quick.
Okay.
We talked off... I was going to say camera. We talked off the podcast about how infectious a lot of social media is, whether it's TikTok or Instagram stories or YouTube shorts, and you can just scroll and scroll. And it's one thing when you're on one subject, you could get bored and close out of it, but they're so designed to be like, oh, you want to see this Karen getting owned at a Target? Okay, here's that. Oh, and then here's some behind the scenes from Breaking Bad. And oh, here's some casting news. And then it's just something different each time. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? So it's awful and I hate it. And I find myself like ready to watch something, but I'm just still scrolling through things and watching things for multiple minutes that I think is going to be 15 seconds and just, oh shit, I watched it for 4 minutes. Now I got to go into their page and watch the part 2 because I didn't finish there. It's awful.
I always hate, like, I watch something that's like, man, I feel bad about myself that I watched that because it was, I feel dumber from watching it. And it's like, well, I got to get a palate cleanse. So maybe I'll scroll up one more time to see if it's any good. Just to like, I can't end on a bad note. Yeah. So I watched till a good note. It's like, oh, well, now I feel good again. I guess I'll watch
keep
50
going.
more. It's genius, but the worst thing.
Yeah. So I hate it, but I also love it. The content that's on TikTok is astounding. Whatever you want. I follow a guy who just clears out drains in streets when it rains and it starts pooling up, and he just takes his rake and he scoops out all the leaves, and you watch a whirlpool happen and all the water's gone. Like, that was cool. Oh, look, here's a plumber guy. He's unclogging this drain because a root thing, or people were flushing baby wipes, and just how satisfying it is to have them pull all that gunk out and the water's flowing again. Woohoo! Why should I care about that? But it's satisfying to watch, and I watch and watch and watch.
You don't even plunge your own toilet, let alone.
I just let it build up. Yeah. The water's been turned off for years. I use buckets, Steve. You know that. But that being said, there's plenty of content out there that's good. The ones I hate the most are always like, hey, watch to the end. And then you do, and it's stupid. It's a jump scare, or it's 2 seconds of payoff. But the absolute worst things on TikTok are people just reposting other people's videos, and they're like pointing to the title and just like, watch this. Oh, you won't believe. What are you adding to this, dude? And they'll have thousands of likes. Go watch the original video. But these people just, all their content is just someone else's shit and then pointing at the title. Hate it. So I have some of my favorite TikTok pages, and I'll just run through them real quick.
Okay.
You look like you're about to be embarrassed. No,
it's just, I won't know any of these because I'm not on TikTok.
Sure. Yeah.
So this is clearly just for the listener base, which I fully support. It's just, go for it.
All right. So BattleBots. one of the greatest shows that was on Comedy Central. Now technology is even better. BattleBots still exist. I think they do it in Vegas now. Machines are so much cooler, and this is the best format to do it because the talking about the creators and the history, and then the build up to the fight, and then the fight's not that interesting. Maybe there's 2 or 3 good hits, but on TikTok, you only got like 15 seconds. They're showing you all the good shit. So
all the highlights from the 2-minute fight.
I spent like an hour and a half just watching everything on their page because it was so much fun. Because you just can cut out all that bullshit, condense it down to some of the best.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched a ton of the BattleBots, but it's always so interesting. And you see this like giant thing with like 2 buzz saws and a flamethrower. It's got like all these things, but it's just the like almost flat little thing with like a flipper, and just like annihilates everybody. It's so interesting.
And then that flipper goes against another type that has maybe a slammy hammer, and oh no, it's done for that. And you just never know.
Rock beats paper. Paper beats
slammy hammer beats robot. Yeah. One is called Club Dirty.
That's the tag at the end of it right
now. One's called Club Dirty. It's just a guy who people go, hey, have you tried this cocktail? And it's always 2 simple things: this crazy soda and this crazy drink. And like, this is a pineapple drink and this weird coconut thing. And oh, for some reason it tastes like cotton candy. It's great. They're real short, simple, and everything that he puts on there seems really tasty. And if you're looking for new cocktails out there, just watch anything on his page. Lot of great ideas. I talked about the unclogging drains, PBS Roadshow, or it's called Roadshow PBS. It's the Antiques Roadshow.
Okay.
Some of their videos are a little longer, but once again, condensed down to the good stuff, a little bit of the history, and then that final price, and you get to see all the cool stuff, and you don't have to sit through an entire episode. Love that. Funny one that it's so stupid. It's called That One Fire Detector. Fire detector? Yeah. Or it's really like, it's like the smoke detector.
Okay.
So sometimes you're watching some random video of people playing video games or arguing or whatever, and you'll just hear the smoke alarm just beep in the background. Well, he duets all those videos with a filter where it's a smoke alarm with eyes and a mouth, and he just sits and waits, and then when it beeps, he opens his mouth with it, and that's all it is. He just adds his stupid smoke detector face and mimes the beep. And it's so funny every time. I don't know what it is.
Oh my God, man.
If you like science stuff, there's a guy called Planet_Peterson. His whole thing is like debunking flat earthers, and these fucking morons come on and they think they know everything. And this dude, he is pretty smug, and he'll interrupt you if he thinks you're being dumb, but he knows a lot, and he just puts them down and puts them in their place all the time. And it's so funny watching them just stutter and stumble.
Well, this guy's clearly paid by Big Planet, who is just trying to...
Big Globe.
Yeah.
In the same vein is that Dinesh guy. His thing is more Karens, shitty people, bad cops, racist dudes, anybody who's like caught on camera doing something fucked up. He's always the one to find out who that person is and put them on blast, show their name, tell everybody like where they work, and then the followers just go nuts and like call these people, and they get them fired. People who've done fucked up shit and ran, and the cops are like, well, you can't really do anything. Gets enough people upset calling the police station, then they have to do something. So he's always getting these assholes who deserve their comeuppance. And I love watching a Karen get put in her place. It's so satisfying. Or a cop that thinks they know the law, but the person that they're trying to harass knows so much better. Those are always so fun. And of course, because I watch and liked some of those videos, that seems to be all my pages now, is just Karens or reenactment of Karens. I love it, but okay, it's a little much. But he's really good at blowing people up and doxing them in a way, which doxing's not a cool thing. If it's you're an asshole and you want to make some cam girl feel bad about herself by exposing her life to her family and stuff, that's fucked up. Racist dude harasses a woman because doesn't like her race, fuck that guy. Yeah, he should be put on blast. Love it. One of my first ones I ever followed was Carmichael_Jones. He just has a video game emulators. He has like every game, every system, and he puts it on a wheel and spins the wheel. I mean, it's a digital wheel, but spins it. That's the system. Then spins another wheel with every game that's ever been on that system, and he plays it and just gives it a rating of either buy, rent multiple times, rent once, throw away, or burn every copy. And it's just fun.
Do you know if he's played the ET game yet?
I don't know. Atari doesn't come up all that often.
Oh, okay.
But the new Atari really is the Game Gear. Every time he gets a Game Gear game, it's an absolute piece of shit. He's only found like one or two that are okay. Everything else is just absolute garbage. But sometimes there'll be weird Japanese games on PlayStation that I'd never heard of, and turns out they look really fun. It's a fun little TikTok just to see things you may not have seen. In that realm, obscure_board_games is just a guy who finds old board games from the 50s, 60s, 70s and just explains it and shows you how to play. And it's really upsetting because some of these games are really fun, and I don't know why they haven't like reinvented them for a new world. And there's a lot of like Milton Bradley stuff, so they probably have the rights still. And I love the channel, and he does modern stuff as well, but mostly older. It just makes me want to play some of these older games. It just looks...
Does he ever find games where it's just like, ooh, there's a reason they stopped making this game, or just like the game would be called like So Long Namer? It's like, looks like some people moved into your neighborhood that you don't like.
No.
Better get them out of here. Roll dice to find out.
Nothing like that.
Yikes.
And he's not really there to rate it. It's more of, this is going to either take a long time, this is a shorter game, this is for everybody, this is how you play it, and that's it. He doesn't really pass judgment on whether it's good or not, but he really only focuses on things that seem like fun. Okay, there's a guy, I don't know his real name, but his handle is Geo Rainbolt. Have you heard of this dude? He's a Google Maps guy who can guess where he's at just... it looks like a dirt fucking road with a tree. There's no way you could possibly know where he is. And he's like, oh yeah, that's Zimbabwe, little down here. And he's like 10 miles away or 100 feet away. He just knows, because he also understands, oh, well, there was a fire in this country when the Google car was driving through there. So if I see a picture and it's more hazy, I know it's probably in that area. Like, he knows so much about that. He did fucking Antarctica, and he's like, oh, these cliffs, I think this cliff is over here. He looks at leaves. He'll do... oh, I'll do this picture, but it's in black and white and reversed and pixelized. And he's still able to find where he's going. He's crazy fast and insane. Probably autistic. But he's nuts. Watching him and like, this has to be fake, but I think it's real. And the last one I'll talk about is called There I Ruined It. Guy will just mash up songs, take a popular meme song like the Corn Kid and put it into other songs and make it worse. Take a Green Day song and make it sound like Celine Dion. They're always really funny. He does a lot of like Eminem Super Mario Brother mashups. I think I told you about that a while ago. And they're all real funny. They're like 15 seconds long, but there's a lot of creativity, and some of them actually sound pretty cool. And I wouldn't mind hearing a full release of it. But I like TikTok. Takes up too much of my time, so I hate it, but I find myself going to it more than other apps recently. Let's talk about, real quick, Community.
The best comedy show of all time, or at least my personal favorite.
It was funny when I was making that. Oh yeah, and we have a TikTok. It's just WRPL podcast. There's only 2 videos on it. I'm trying my best. I'm not good at it. Just bear with me. But if you wanna follow it, so watching episodes just to get some footage from it, I forgot how many episodes there were. Like, it was a legit show that had like 22 episodes a season.
Yep.
Those first few seasons, I forget how much is in it, and you remember some of the big things, but you forget some of those smaller episodes. And we should be grateful that we did get so much, and it still kept coming back, and there is a following, because this could have been a show of 1 season and done, and all you had were those first few episodes. But as promised, as foretold for many years,
as the prophecy was written,
we are getting a Community movie. Finally.
I mean, I'll believe it when I see a trailer, or like when it goes into production, because things get announced and stuff happens.
Yeah.
Like things go out of business and there's the money's not there, or like they're in production and then they're just like, know what, this is gonna tank, pull the plug,
pull it.
So
People's schedules change and they're unable to fulfill their contract. Who knows?
So until I see a trailer, I'm holding off too much excitement, but I always kind of believed that it would happen, but it's also one of those things. It's kind of just like expecting George R. R. Martin's next book to come out. It's just like, like it'll come out when it comes out. It's like, is it really though? So I'm happy that it's been announced, and I'm glad so far the majority of the cast is coming back.
The most important -1.
Yeah. And obviously it's the big one, Mr. Dong Lover, Donald Glover.
Do you think he'll come back? Or is he too big for it? Is he past it? Is he too good for it? Can he get back into that character?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, a couple years ago during the whole COVID thing, they did a community reunion and he showed up for that, which I mean, he got to be at home and just hop on a Zoom call. But, you know, just seeing him, because it always felt like once he left, he was like, all right, this is behind me. So I'm not going to like do anything more with this. Because he didn't really talk about it a ton after he left, and you know all the cast members constantly talked about him. It's like whenever, because Joel McHale and Dan Harmon and Alison Brie, like they all still talk about the show and like interviews and stuff.
I saw one with Alison Brie, and you could just tell like she's so fucking tired of this. Like, is there gonna be a movie? And just like, yeah, well, you know, I don't know.
I'm not in charge of it.
Like, fuck off. Just talk to someone else.
But
yeah, they still keep talking about, but Donald Glover is really kind of just quiet.
But I mean, at the same time, none of them have blown up quite like him.
Oh yeah.
You know, being a huge musical act and being on one of the biggest
award-winning
shows. Yeah. Not the biggest show, but award-winning show with Atlanta, and just that guy can do whatever he wants. Yeah. So why do this like dingy movie that only a few passionate fans might care about?
Give it back to the people who helped launch your career. You know, you wouldn't be where you are without this. I'm sure you would have been just fine without this. He would have found some other writing job and been on some other show. But
or just on the music thing.
Or yeah, exactly. But just come back. Even if it's just a scene of I don't want it this way, but if it is just like a Zoom call with Abed and just like, oh, we're doing our weekly catch up, and maybe they have a podcast together. Of course, you would think they would with their Troy and Abed in the morning. It's just perfect for that. So maybe they do something like that already, and we only see him in his mansion or on his boat with all of his money, and that's all we see. You know, he's not crucial to the plot, but at least he shows up to, you know, give us a wink.
Yeah, I think he just has to come back. And I listened to a podcast with Dan Harmon where he talked about it recently. He's just like, yeah, losing Donald like was like season 4 was like hard for me. And then when I came back for season 5, I was like, Donald wanted to leave at the beginning of season 5, or like leave before season 5 started. He's like, I remember standing outside with him and just like begging him, and just like, can I get 10 episodes? And just negotiating. It's like, so I got him down to 5 episodes, and it's just like, so. But when he left the show, it's just like he was the best part of that show. Like everyone knew it. Everyone knew he was going to be a superstar. So it's just like, if I can get him for a scene, I'll be happy, because it would suck for him not to be there. But if he could be in the whole movie, I would restore all my faith in this movie.
Yeah, we could live without Chevy. We could live without...
Well, he's dead now at this point.
Oh, that's true.
Unless they do like a flashback.
Yeah.
But also, like, who knows what he looks like now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, probably pretty rough. Yvette Nicole Brown, I'd love to have her back, but not as crucial of a character.
Sure.
But I will say, even though he left, they did a pretty good job maintaining that season, adding in... oh, that's not till 6, right? No, Frankie's in 5, right?
Frankie is in 5.
Yeah.
Yes.
She had to be in 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Adding Frankie, what's his name?
Keith David's character.
Yes.
Woodson.
No. Damn. You're not a fan.
I know.
But I think like those characters are good enough to help fill in that gap. Because a lot of people don't like season 5 and 6, and I love season 5 and 6.
No, season 5 and 6 are great.
Yeah, I can't complain.
It's just like when you have season 2 and 3, which are considered some of the best seasons of television
Yeah.
ever in the comedy world in my brain.
Mm.
In comparison to season 5 and 6, you're just like, well, the show's never really been as good. It's like, maybe not, but like all those seasons make me laugh. Even 4, which gets a ton of shit,
Yeah.
I still enjoy 4.
It has its moments. It's just things like Greendale babies that stick in my brain. And when I think
Greendale babies,
I think of season 4, and then that's the only thing that comes to mind, and I forget a lot of stuff. So it's hard for me to remember the good, but it is an okay for not being the showrunner. It's not like he tanked it. He had a bad year or whatever. It's a completely different person.
Sure.
And for that to be the case, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But let's move on. That's
Yep.
a lot of community talk. The Last of Us trailer, the full trailer finally dropped.
I hate The Last of Us.
Ew,
that game is so dumb.
It's poopy.
It's the worst game ever made.
In the words of you,
stupid people.
It's hot doo-doo garbage, according to Steve. I'm so excited for this show. I don't care about any Marvel release, any House of the Dragon comeback, Lord of the Rings, whatever. Any show that's going to happen next year, I'll give it up. I'll give up a new season of Rick and Morty so I can see this season.
It certainly has potential. For anyone who didn't catch the sarcasm, The Last of Us is my favorite game of all time, along with Part 2. And if you don't like Part 2, shut up, you're dumb. I'm pretty excited for this series. I think Pedro Pascal looks like Joel.
Perfect.
And I think Lyanna Mormont as Ellie is a perfect transition.
We'll learn actors' names.
I'll learn her. I'll learn her real name. But from what we've seen from the trailer, just watching every clip, I'm just like, I remember that part in the game. I remember that part in the game. But like, at no point in that trailer is like, even though you saw scenes that like were reminiscent of stuff you played, nothing was necessarily like spoilery for new fans. So you would just look at that and go like, I don't know what's going on other than like zombies.
I think.
Yeah. But it looks cool. And the fact that it's on HBO gives me hope. And a lot of the people who worked in the game, Neil Druckmann is working behind it. And
the creator of Chernobyl.
Oh, which
Perfect.
Chernobyl is...
Chernobyl's great.
Honestly, more than Neil Druckmann coming on board, the guy who did Chernobyl, when he was on there, I was like, oh, perfect. Transition. Because nothing is more reminiscent of the tone, I think, of The Last of Us than Chernobyl, and just like how gross and awful and terrifying all that was. Chernobyl, I can't remember if we talked about it on the pod.
No, because it was like 2 years before.
Okay. But Chernobyl is one of the greatest pieces of television I've ever seen.
It's just like 5 episodes, right? 5 or 6. It's like short and sweet and just done.
But this isn't the Chernobyl moment. So there's a lot of talent behind the screen, and the very brief shots we've seen of like the clickers and stuff. They looked awesome. I can't wait. I think this could be a huge show if done right. And we know that these games do characters the best. And I think as you and I we're big fans of characters, and I think there's a lot of hope to get behind it. They could still fuck it up.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah. Do you think they'll do the whole first game in the first season? Because I could see it, the landing of Joel getting the rebar through his leg before we transition to the snow. Yeah. I can see that being the end of season 1 of, what's going to happen next?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be the whole game. Because, obviously transitioning a game to a TV series, you can fast forward through a lot of stuff because you're not like spending hours like roaming, trying to open up every drawer for bullets,
picking up a plank so you can get across a gap,
like doing a bunch of stealth missions. Like you'd fast forward through all that. But the first game does have a clear like kind of halfway point with the snow stuff. I think we will see some of that based on the trailer. Because you do see them in the snow, and you do see like sort of Joel like holding Ellie's face, and she's like covered in blood, which I think could be reminiscent of a scene. Yeah,
with the cabin and the weird pedophile dudes, and that could be the final episode of her killing those guys. Like, look how far Ellie has come, and then bam, end of the season.
Then I think next season you would do the rest of the game, even though that's a little bit farther than halfway.
Yeah, but you could really do more with the Fireflies and learning of their
and I'm
organization.
sure that the show's going to expand on certain stuff. Well, also the show is going to do you can tell from the trailer, they're going to do the Left Behind DLC. So the Left Behind DLC was all like Ellie's backstory of the day she got bit, and the girl that she was friends with. They
would have to do that. You can't not do that. You can't show her bit and not show how.
And the Left Behind DLC is great as well. So I think you do the first game in 2 seasons, and then from there, maybe the actress who's Ellie is will be tall enough or old enough to, like, if you do a season every 2 years, I guess she could play the 5 years older version of Ellie.
I don't think it would be a big deal.
It wouldn't be. I don't think it would be a big stretch. So you theoretically could do the next 2 seasons as part 2, and then by that point, maybe Last of Us Part 3 will be out, and then
I can see them actually even taking game 2 and turning that into 3 seasons. Because we have the clear Ellie and Abby stuff, but there's the Seraphins. There's a lot more to that game.
Yeah, true.
And I think they can really spread that out. And then by the time season 5 is done, then you could do a season 3.
Because you could do season 1 is Ellie's part of the game, and then season 2 is Abby's part of the game, and then season 3 is like how they come together and like switch back and forth between them. And unless you you might even just do both stories at the same time and jump back and forth and then just make the season shorter. Like, you don't cut it off at the point where you switch in the game. In order to make it more dynamic and interesting, it's like, well, we're not just focusing on Ellie. We're doing Ellie and Abby at the same time and just doing that over multiple seasons. Yeah, and and
Abby coming in and seeing like her friends being killed and knowing that you just left them a couple hours ago. What happened in the next episode? Oh, now we're going to see that same sort of situation, but we're going to see it from Ellie's perspective.
Because in terms of like the television story, it's like that might be an easier way, because the whole point of the second game was sort of just like, look at these 2 characters who have these parallel sort of stories, but who, like, you kind of root for one in the beginning, and then you realize like they're both not great, and they're both have their good reasons for doing what they're doing. And so it's just like 2 people who, like, you could probably see being friends if they just met under different circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely.
So watching that in a season, it might be more interesting to go like, oh, this episode, Ellie's kind of the shitty person, and this episode, Abby's great. But then the next episode, it could be the vice versa. It's like, so all of the seasons, you're like, going back and forth. Who are you rooting for here? Yeah. So that could be fun. So whether it's 2 seasons or 5 seasons, whatever.
Take it.
I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully we get the 3rd Last of Us game, if there is one. Because I just love this world so much, and I love trilogies, and I think we just need to see how Ellie's story truly ends.
Because right now she's just alone. She doesn't have her adopted kid or her girlfriend. I'm sure it'll be another time jump and she'll be even older, but who knows what they're gonna. No one suspected Joel was gonna get killed like so early.
Yeah, if the Last of Us Part 3 takes place and she's like 40 or something like that, cool. Yeah. I'm all for it.
Fine by me.
Yeah. So long as the story's worthy of it.
Yes. All right, so do you want to do House of the Dragon or Rings of Power?
Let's do House of Dragon, I guess, because it's fresh, because we just got done watching it.
Pretty good episode.
Yeah.
I'm these families, man. They just I mean, it's great knowing like, well, you're going to have turmoil and going to have split, but now that we've had an episode to introduce all these kids, now we're kind of cementing why there's animosity amongst them and where it'll be going by the end of this season. I thought this was a pretty good episode. We got I don't know his name. The son who was able to take the dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, the youngest son who
Alicent.
Oh, that's right. Alicent's youngest son never was able to get a dragon, was able to take the
world's biggest
dragon, the one we called like the ghost pirate dragon.
Yeah. Vagar is, I think they said its name.
And then we get like an awesome 5 or 4-on-1 kind of fight where like all of his nieces and cousins or whatever beat the shit out of him.
It's so interesting that we've only had 2 episodes with children, and it's like I already like know who these kids are essentially and why they're gonna be who they're gonna be in later episodes. It's like the show's doing a lot, and I'm really impressed, and also don't know how they're doing it. Where it's like you're introducing all these characters in a short span of time, jumping through decades of information. It's like you need so little, but you get so much,
Yeah.
and it's pretty impressive. And what I truly loved about this episode was that kid fight, where it's like it didn't pull punches because kid stuff is always so like, oh, when we gotta like dress it up. It's like these punches felt like there was like real weight behind it. They were using rocks.
Yeah,
and
he was
knives.
gonna smash his head in.
Man, when those 3 kids were just like pummeling another, like I don't know, something like when I see adults like jump somebody, I'm like, oh, that's fucked up. When I see kids do it to another kid, I was like, yeah, like I root for the kids. I don't know what it is about like kids, like because I guess like when adults do it, it seems more vicious because it's like an organized attack, but when kids do it, it's just like they just really hate this kid or something. I don't know. It's more fun for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, a really really fun episode.
The whole all the parents now confronting each other over who's to blame, and really Rhaenyra and her stepmom really, well, as she puts it, like shows her true colors, and it really sets the stage for the future. I'm liking the show more and more every episode.
Yeah, this whole series just seems like we're gonna do 10 episodes of groundwork just to set up the war that will be all of the next 2 to 4 seasons or whatever.
Potentially.
So it's just like we're gonna make you understand why all these people hate each other. And then you're not going to get to the interesting part until next season. We're
you'll be salivating
for it. And then, season 2 and 3, man, it's all Dragon Wars all the time. And you're going to be like, all right, cool.
Yeah, because we got another time jump next episode. This kid that just lost his eye, he's an adult now, or at least late teens.
Yeah, I think I'm guessing he's supposed to be like 10 in this episode. And like next episode, he's probably 16 or something. Yeah.
So I posed an idea to you, and because we're getting so many time jumps and they're not holding on to characters, they're recasting them when necessary and aging people up, why not just keep time jumping the next few seasons until we catch up to either the birth of Daenerys or the death of the Mad King? I think it would be a really interesting take for Game of Thrones too, because they always talk about family and lineage. It's always like a big thing in the background, but to actually follow for 173 years or whatever it was before Daenerys' birth. So let's just round it up to 200.
Yeah.
To follow this family and who was on the throne up until Robert's Rebellion. And I think that can get people maybe appreciating the original series more and like, oh, how quaint it is for it to go into the thing that I love so much, or at least I used to love. I don't know. I think it's a good idea to keep the show fresh. Every season it can be a whole new cast, because if we're jumping a couple decades every few episodes, you're going to have to recast it. And so by the time you get to season 3, no one from season 1 is around anymore, and not even like their kids' kids could be there. It'll be interesting to see where they go, but I can totally see it being no time jumping a bunch, and then the remaining seasons are the next 3 years is the next 3 seasons.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, like the actual Dance of Dragons wasn't a huge chunk of time. So yeah, I think this is just my guess is laying the groundwork. I don't see this show going longer than 3 seasons if the next 2 are all about the actual like Dance of Dragons and the war and stuff.
This can totally go more than 3. It's Game of Thrones, and it's doing well.
Yeah, I mean, it could go for a long time, but if you're talking about like every season jumping to sort of like a new major event leading up to Game of Thrones, it's like, well, that's what other series are for. It's like I don't if they could do it right, it would be cool, but if they want to tell the Robert's Rebellion storyline, I think you could do that. Like you just make another spin-off or whatever, or just like a mini series of like, okay, this is a 1 season and it just tells the Robert's Rebellion story, and that's what it would be. But this is Fire and Blood. This is the House of Dragons. Which it's like if you're doing, I mean, yeah, there's the Targaryens in that part, but
this is the last Targaryen on the throne. Why not go all the way up to it? This is where we started, and
that might be the plan.
absolutely. And then, so we know a Targaryen more than likely. I'm sure there'll be some switches here and there, or do you know? Is it from what we've seen? Is there a Targaryen on the throne all the way until the Mad King? Mad King?
Well, yeah, the Targaryens are on there until
The whole time. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, my whole thing is I'm okay with whatever they do as long as they do it well.
Yeah.
And if they want to do a bunch of jumps and tell the entire Targaryen line up until the Mad King dies, cool. But I also don't want them to like rush stuff just to be like,
we gotta go. Yeah.
We're gonna get to the Mad King. Just keep tuning in. It's like, well, it's been 173 years and I can't follow the storyline anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Does get very, very confusing.
So,
yeah, but it's good. I like it. I'm into it more than I used to. But I'm still, I don't know which one I like better, this or Lord of the Rings. They're just so different fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say that this episode, the lighting was
so dark,
so dark.
Yeah, I mean, I justified it as it's stormy, it's windy, you can't get any torches out there, but it's movie magic. It's fake torches anyways.
Yeah,
you do it, and it who cares?
I mean, I always knew what was going on. I haven't seen this kind of lighting very often in a show, and it just seemed weird. It's like when you watch like a 4K movie or like the Hobbit movies in 3D, you're just like, oh, what was it? The
high frame rate.
High frame rate where there's like no motion blur, and you're just like, it just looks wrong.
It looks like a soap opera.
Yeah. And I still don't care necessarily about all these rich people who just complain all the time. I wish there was like some character I really rooted for, because there's not one I like care all that much about.
Yeah.
Because they're all kind of dicks.
And then this is definitely not we got to check in with a peasant somewhere because their story is going to be significant or anything. It's like, nope, this is just the families, just the kingdom. It's not
like there's families like in different parts of like Westeros. It's like they're always all together essentially. Yeah. So I don't know. I wish there was a Tyrion-esque character, because like the nicest character on the show is the guy who looks like a walking corpse, who's the king, who seems like a swell guy, but like everyone's just like, just die already so we can like just take the throne.
Someone's gonna have to take it. Will you die so we can start getting at each other's throats?
Yeah, I'd like to see a sweet, healthy relationship that isn't all about like, who do we got to murder?
Yeah.
You know what? Give me a romantic comedy set in Westeros. Can I get one of those?
Okay, all right. But of course, it would have to end with something awful and tragic, because you can't have anything nice in Westeros.
They just have a meet cute, and they're like talking, and it's like, oh, we're gonna go to this. I can't wait to go to this wedding later. And it's like, oh, I love you, sweetie. And then it's like, it just happens to be the red wedding, and that's how the movie ends. It's like, nothing bad's gonna happen today. Today, I'm gonna tell my parents we're pregnant. Oh, hooray! And
I'm gonna quit that job that I hate so much, and we're gonna run off together. And then we got what's his name dying in the fire. I don't know. Once again, another character.
Laenor.
Yes.
Queen, the future Queen Rhaenyra's husband.
Yes.
Who they don't love each other, but respect each other.
They're friends. They're family.
They're friends.
Friends, family, lover, all in one.
And she has him killed. In quotation marks, which I didn't see coming.
No.
But respect the move.
Mm-hmm. Just so she could marry her uncle, because,
dude's hot.
He gave her blue balls that one time, and she never got over it.
Yeah.
But her logic makes sense. I'm like, look, people are gonna come at me for I can't be the queen, but hey, if my dad's brother is the part of the party, maybe it will be okay. So I get it, but come on, this is your cousin or second cousin that you've been married to for at least 10 years. You don't do them like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, who is that body? Because it's like the little page boy ran off, and he was just a boy.
Yeah, I guess the dude could have just killed any person and brought the body with him, but it's not like he came with him. Like, did he bring a bag with him that we didn't see? Yeah.
Because if it's just it's one of the guards, it's a cook, that person's going to go missing. Yeah. So they'll be like, well, that's kind of weird, isn't it? And they'll start looking into it. And maybe they'll do that. Now we're getting a time jump, so I'm sure we're moving right past it.
And you know what? There was something that was in the show that you and I just both missed, but it certainly wasn't clear.
Yeah.
Or if they were just like, hey man, it's a TV show, shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm. But like, did he know he was coming to kill him? Or was it like, hey, I'm going to fight you for real until that kid runs out, and then he goes, wait, hold on, I got a plan. How do you think about this?
No, I think he
was
knew the entire time.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I mean, he shaved his head. And,
That's right.
and like he was the one like rowing the boat. I think it was all.
But he didn't have a shaved head at the fight, so
no. But it was because he had. I'm saying like he took the time to clear it before he left.
Yeah.
You know. So I think he was part of the plan the entire time.
Okay. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if their story goes anywhere.
I hope they never come back.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't like him.
Yeah.
He was like one of the characters I actually did like.
Just let him have a happy life.
Yeah.
Take some money and run.
You know, yeah. Not many people get away from the game.
Mm-hmm.
So if he just like went with his boyfriend and was like, we're just going to be gay in Essos and, you know, shop. Great. Now that sounded stereotypical. Cut that. So anyway, anything else about House of the Dragon? I think we pretty much covered it.
Yeah. It was a pretty contained episode. So yeah. Oh yeah. And the queen's like, hey, dude with the cane, I'm going to need you to kill someone for me at some point. I don't know who, I don't know when, but just be prepared.
Yeah, I need you to do some dirty shit.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. And I like her. Like I know her from Ouija and Bates Motel. She was good in Bates Motel, but that's all I really know her from. But she's good.
Yeah.
I like her. All right, let's talk about Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power.
Okay.
All right. So when this episode started and they're doing their little recap and the evil elf they showed him about, you know, talking about how, oh, it's going to be sad that the sun's gone. You know, I'm going to miss this feeling. I was like, oh, yeah. When is Mount Doom going to show up? Because we don't have an active volcano right now. I wonder when that's going to happen. And then by the end of the episode, get like this special effects spectacular thing. And I was like, yeah. I called it. I didn't call it, but I posed the question that was answered almost immediately. But I mean, I'm jumping all the way to the end here, but I don't care. I love that scene. I didn't expect the sword to be a weird go into the stone and turn the key. And it's like, do you really need that sword? Couldn't you blow the dam up in a way? Couldn't you get the water some other means?
Well, probably, but in this show's defense, in the Two Towers, you have basically Saruman inventing explosives. That's like, true. What is this black powder? Yeah. So it's not like they necessarily knew of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've spent all these years digging tunnels all the way across the country. They could have just taken chisels and maybe done the same thing. But at the same time, they couldn't work during the day.
Yeah.
And they also, that tower that held was, there was elves working there up until recently.
That's true.
So this was the only way.
But I like that it is just kind of a natural reaction. It wasn't, we got to put a spell or throw the magic rock in. It's like, no, just introduce a bunch of fucking water to this lava and it's gonna react. And what a great explosion and shock waves and the lightning and the smoke. It just looked great.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we're jumping to the end, but I thought the explosion was pretty awesome. I like that it came, you know, you had this battle and it was just like, it felt very Tolkien-ish of just like, we defeat the bad guys, look at us. It's like they're all sharing beers, like the king has returned, and it's like, you know, they all got their hero moments, and it's like kind of like what the series has built up to at this point. And then you got that piece for like 2 minutes, and then you just hear the sounds like, what the fuck's going on? And then they're now in hell.
Yeah.
Which the episode is titled Udun, which is Elvish essentially for hell.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So
yeah, I like that's like, are you the king that was promised? Like, yeah, that's me. And then all this lava happened. Like, God damn it! I don't want. This isn't my kingdom. Now pass. I renounce it.
So I mean, we'll talk about that in a minute. But did you know that when volcano, depending on how big and whatever, like that lightning and stuff is a real thing that happens?
Oh, yeah.
Like, how fucking scary is that? Not only is this thing exploding, and it was, another thing I saw was just like, these things can, like, this smoke and ash can travel like 200 kilometers an hour. So it's just a tidal wave of smoke and fire and lightning. That is a real thing that happens in the real world. It is so scary.
And first, like, it's an explosion, and just that shockwave and force could kill you. Then the lava can kill you. Then the smoke and ash, and then it's just, it's a natural disaster that just like, I don't want to say it's underrated, but like we get tornadoes every year, we get hurricanes every year.
Mhm.
We don't get enough volcanoes exploding.
Yeah.
So let's go to the beginning of the episode.
So the beginning of the episode is
Sailing.
sailing home. I guess I think they're like you have Isildur talking to Galadriel.
So is that Aragorn's dad or grandfather or great grandfather? Like that's his heir, right?
Yeah, I forget exactly how many generations it's separated, but
sure, obviously it's thousands of years.
Aragorn comes from
his line.
His line, yeah.
So what's so special about him?
Isildur?
Yeah. I mean, I know his dad is special, but it's not like he has a seat of power or anything. He's just a dude.
Well, currently, so I mean, I don't want to necessarily get into spoiler stuff, and my history is not 100%. But long story short, like he basically just becomes like leader of men, and you know, I think it's like, well, his dad does, and he only becomes king because his dad dies and we know this because it's in the prologue.
Everything falls right.
Well,
his dad will be in charge.
Essentially, like he's the leader of this group of men, and then because Elendil means elf friend, which they said in the show, and like they have good relationship with the elves, they're like, we gotta team up and take down Sauron. This dude's doing some wild shit over there in Mordor.
Boy, wow.
Yeah, boy, wilding out over there. And so once Elendil dies in battle, which we see in the Fellowship of the Ring, Isildur ascends, and then he becomes the leader, and just like, you know, just through my dad was the guy, so I have to be the guy now.
Okay.
But yeah, which was a nice little scene between those two, and I think they said like, oh, we'll reach land in a day, and then we'll reach the Southlands in another day. Which I think I saw stuff where it's like, this show's abusing fashion because you see the sun rise, and then I think through the context of the show, you're supposed to believe like within 24 hours they're like.
Yeah,
there to say, or less than 24 hours, but like
suns rise every day. It could be any of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that didn't bother me. I just assumed that was like previous days. It's like this is just how the episode's edited. It's not. Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But then we have the orcs, you know, marching up. They're all in their army. They're going to, you know, the mini Helm's Deep kind of thing. And you think there's gonna be like the siege battle, but like. All the humans are gone.
Yep. Get some cool elf action.
Which I really liked this plan.
Yeah.
Just having Arondir there who like shoots a couple guys and then he like shoots some sort of mechanism that I'm not sure how exactly this worked.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna write off.
You cut a rope and the balance is off and something is
just
free.
Kills a bunch of dudes.
Yeah. I like that he like cuts the rope and it like drags a piece of wood behind and closes the door.
That was my favorite part. That was cool. Awesome. Yeah, how he locked that up. It's such a thing in fantasy recently, which is like I think they did it in Wheel of Time, they did it in Game of Thrones, where it's just like they do a big thing and it looks like it takes out the whole army. It's like he took out half the people. It's like it's always like he took out half. Yeah. There's always half left at everything. Because it didn't seem like the orcs had that big of an army.
No,
but they had a decent.
But it also didn't seem like all of them were there either.
No, of course not. Yeah. So the humans are like, all right, well, now we got to prepare the town. And so we have that whole sequence and, you know, orcs come at night. We have another like night battle, which I thought was pretty fun.
Block them in with fire. Pretty good.
And then you have the plot twist of like, oh, most of the people we just fought weren't orcs at all. Yeah. They were our neighbors. Yep. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's brutal. And smart too, because like, oh, you want to join our crew? Great. You're the first wave.
Yep.
So it makes perfect sense.
And do you think all of them are dead? Do you think he sent every human?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So there's just the one dude left, probably? The one that had the sword?
The one that had the sword, yeah.
Okay.
That's my guess.
Okay.
Because I imagine it's kind of like you're the first one to proclaim for us, and you proved yourself by killing that kid. All right, I'll let you carry the sword and complete the mission. Although, like, I'm not sure if I would trust the guy who is a member of the human race to do the thing. I'd probably still give it to an orc to do. Yeah. But whatever. Guy was clearly into Sauron. So
I'm the Sauron stan.
Yeah, so I'm fine with it. Here's my only problem with the whole...
I think I know what you're going to say. Go.
here's my only problem with the whole battle sequence, and well, not just the battle sequence, but like the Southlands in general. It seems like the entire Southlands is this one village.
Yeah. There's
Um,
no kingdom.
Cause yeah, it's like I don't know. I assume there would have to be other like settlements, and we saw one other settlement in
Mhm.
like the first episode that was ransacked, and like
Yeah.
all the villagers was gone from there.
Mhm.
But is it just like this village was the particular place of battle because it was nearest to Mount Doom, because
Mhm.
it was just in the path that they needed to go, or like had the orcs already wiped out the majority of the other villages in the
Mhm.
Southlands? Because it just seemed like if you're in this town, you know orcs are coming, and it's like maybe you don't have time to like signal people, but you would think it's like, hey, let's call everyone we know in the like because the Southlands are huge.
Yeah.
It's like let's get everyone we can to sort of like rally together and hopefully defeat these people. I just wish I got a better sense of like how big like the what the community sense is in the
Yeah.
Southlands.
Mhm.
That's my only nitpick with that. It's just like it just seemed like we could only afford this set, so we're not going to visit any of the people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because when Halbrand shows up and they're like, "Are you the king that was promised?" He's like, "Yeah," and everyone's like excited. It's like, okay, well, you're the king of 30 people. Like, who cares?
You have a
Like,
couple of homes and a tavern. Wow, what a
yeah.
king.
So it just seems like, what is he really ruling?
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
that was,
what's the castle that's up right next to Mordor where they go Frodo and Sam go up the steps?
I believe that's Cirith Ungol. Yeah, Cirith Ungol, I think, is
Okay.
that tower because Barad-dûr is his main
Mm-hmm.
keep, and then Orthanc is Saruman's tower in Isengard. So I think
Okay.
Cirith Ungol is like where, like right before they get to Shelob, or
Yes.
after they get to Shelob. That's I believe Cirith Ungol. It's like a watchtower between
Yeah.
the lands.
But like that was a kingdom of men, right? At one point. And
Yeah. So after the Battle of the Last Alliance, when they defeat Sauron, and it's like, all right, so what happens with Mordor? Humans set up it's believed that humans built towers to sort of like guard Mordor and watch over the lands.
Oh.
In case anyone comes back, we have watchtower points.
Okay, but it still gets corrupted anyways.
I mean, yeah, it's just like sorry, evil comes back and orcs come back, and I think they just kind of like wipe out whoever's there and push them back.
See, I
so,
thought
like,
it was a kingdom of man, and it just happened to be the closest to Mordor. It slowly got corrupted and then became abandoned, and then he just kind of usurped it and used it for his Witch King.
I mean, I can't. Maybe he didn't necessarily like take it over, or if it was just like humans watched it for so long, and they're like, "This guy's not fucking coming back," and it's just kind of like it's just you're paying these guys to watch over nothing, so it's just like, all right, fuck it, we're getting out of here. Plus, like, if Mordor is just a land of like ash and smoke, you probably don't want to like you're just getting black lung and from
Yeah,
it's like you don't want to be there all the time.
And it's not like his eye is up there the whole time,
Yeah.
just like going like, I'm in my land, I'm not
And,
doing anything.
You know, at least in that tower, Shelob might have been like picking off the soldiers left and right, and then eventually just like, all right, fuck it, we're just not going to be here until the orcs come back and just like, oh, this is abandoned, it's ours now.
Cool. All right.
But
So the thing I thought you were going to talk about is the mom getting stabbed right through the chest and then living. Just let her die. Is she important enough? They had their kiss and let her die.
yeah, I wish there was some state because like you don't care about any of the villagers except for her and Theo theoretically. So it's like if there was some weight to it, but at the same time, I get if you're kind of trying to like avoid like the fridging thing.
Sure.
But I'm not against killing off female characters if it serves a purpose.
Yeah, her son gets more corrupt as I think he will, and then Elf Dude trying to like bring him back because maybe they're paired together and they're both dealing with this loss, and it's taking them down these dark paths. Because I'd like to see what's this elf's name?
Arondir.
I'd like to see him maybe turn evil. You know, kind of give in and join the other. Evil
I mean, I
elf.
think Arondir from like the first episode, I'm like, I don't know if I really care about this guy because but he might be my favorite character in the show as of
Really?
right now. Yeah. I've come to really like him, and I think I was, and I almost didn't really care for the fight where he fought the big brute orc because you and I have talked about this multiple times. Like I'm tired of like fights where it's just like, oh, I'm a big guy, I'm just gonna throw everybody around.
Throw you.
But I think Arondir did some like real fun combats, like, and I like that it wasn't a bunch of quick cuts. It like stayed on them. So I actually ended up really liking that fight.
There were some digital doubles in there for some of the stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, him just like running off things to be able to flip behind him.
I really enjoyed that fight sequence. But they did it for the third time where it's like blood hits the camera.
Oh,
Stop doing that.
yeah.
I don't know why they're in love with that bit.
Yeah.
Because
That works for war movies because you're supposed to be like in the thick of it. But
Yeah.
like, I don't believe someone's in here recording this situation because there
Right.
were like cameramen and photographers in World War II. I could totally believe a blood splatter. But for this,
Yeah,
no, there's
'cause
no lens here.
And it's not like if it was from Arondir's point of view and
it's
blood, it's like
his
I can
face.
kind of get that
Sure.
because it's like it's dripping into on his face and
Yep.
his mouth and like that's disgusting. But when it's like offside and it's like at an angle looking up and it just kind of just like splatters on the side, it's like, oh well, now you've taken me out of the illusion.
Yep.
It's like I can kind of still be in the illusion if it's hitting the camera, but I am Arondir.
Yeah.
So that part, I was just like, God damn it, stop doing that. Because I think that's the third time they've done it.
Yeah.
And oh man, I just love a good cavalry charge.
Mhm.
That looked cool. Although I'm tired of the slow motion. But cool to see them and coming in and saving the day, very Rohan like. You got a Seodor saving his dad. And have a nice sweet moment where they talk to that injured horse and stuff. I don't know. I just everything in this episode pretty much worked for me with other than some like nitpicks in terms of like production choices.
Sure.
But
we didn't get any Hobbit stuff, right?
No Hobbit stuff.
No Hobbit
and
stuff.
I think that's a reason why other people really like this episode was it was more focused. It wasn't constantly jumping between like the 5 different storylines.
Yeah.
It was pretty much the Arondir show until the last 10 minutes when everyone else showed up. And I can't wait for next week to see like what this new world of Mordor kind of looks like in the Wave of Destruction that we've seen sort of glimpses of in the trailers. But at this point, Halbrand is Sauron, right? It
Who's
seems
that?
like he's the guy.
The guy
with Galadriel.
Oh, you think?
It just seems like I didn't want him to be. It just seems like all the evidence is pointing to him. It's like the first time we meet him on the boat, he immediately sacrifices his comrades.
Yeah.
It's like he's got this mysterious backstories where like I did something bad, and then you had Adar, which we didn't even talk about Adar and his whole thing, where he's just like I killed Sauron, and like, but Sauron's an immortal being essentially. Like you can't do that unless you. But I don't know. There's other evidence, but I'm not going to get into it. But like, it just seems like, and it's like, I'm going to be, my people are the people of the Southlands, but Southlands is Mordor.
Yeah.
And just seems like all this evidence kind of like point to him, unless it's like a last minute, like, actually, we just did all that to fuck with you guys.
Wouldn't he be more inclined with Galadriel to be like, yeah, let's get back home. I will take the power. It is my right. Let's fucking do it. But he was like so hesitant the whole time. Is that just part of the game?
Well, that's my only thought is like maybe he doesn't even know he's Sauron.
Oh, and he's like a Cylon in Battlestar Galactica. They don't even know they're Cylons, like, and then they wake up and they do a bad thing. And
I don't know, but because that might be what these cultists that we've only seen for 12 seconds, like they're looking for. But I mean, I guess they're going after the stranger.
Yeah.
If they're there to unlock the secret of Sauron, but they could be good people. Yeah. They just look menacing.
Yeah.
Anyway, but real quick to the Adar or Adar, however you say his name, the first Uruk, as he likes to be called. I like that backstory.
Yeah.
I like the idea of just like, some of us. We're pretty pissed off that they made us like in a sense, like so we got rid of them. Like they're giving orcs like a little bit more personality and culture. They're not just like necessarily pure evil. They can like have thoughts. Like
they're giving them agency.
Agency, yes, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. So it's just like they're building this. Like they built this land for themselves so they can live kind of like. This is our land, and we're going to live in shadow and all that stuff. But it's not like we're not here to serve Sauron. This isn't his plan. I mean, it might be in the long run kind of thing, but because Adar could be just full of shit.
Yeah.
But it's just I like the idea of just like no, we're a rogue faction of orcs who are just making this for ourselves.
Just let us live.
Like fuck Sauron, fuck Melkor, and all those guys. Like we don't care. Like we just want our own piece of land without being like hunted by you people. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I like that.
But so if they were to be like, okay, fine, you get this land. What do you think the world is like for them? Do they have commerce? Do they have entertainment? Or is it just armor building and sword fighting? Is it just like that's all we do is because you would think if we're not serving Sauron, we don't need to constantly be preparing for war. Do they have normal lives? Do they fall in love? They obviously have to have children, right? How are the orcs born?
We've never seen a female orc. And
because you have to.
The first orcs were elves that were corrupted,
but then they bred them right out of the ground and like mixing goblin and human and everything together.
Yeah, I can't remember if that was necessarily. I think there was a line where in the books or something about them being born of like earth or something. I think that was more of just like a. I don't know if that's necessarily how they're actually created. I mean, but if that was just like
that's what Peter Jackson shows us.
Just kind of took that line like, oh, it's gonna be cool if like
let's do it literally.
Let's do it literally. Yeah,
which is a great scene. I love that. I love that. It's like, hey, let me rip you out of this sack. Okay, I'm gonna slap my hand on your face. Now you got some white on you. Now let's go to war. It's like, I'm just born.
Just born evil. Yeah. So there's some interesting ideas there, and that's one of the things I always thought would be cool to see. It's just like let's see orc culture. Let's see what.
I'll trade you this rock for that rock.
Yeah. Like they can't always just be like we have to kill elves. It's like, or maybe that is their mission. It's like we want to kill elves and men because they oppress us. They're they're coming like we didn't start this war, but we're gonna finish it kind of thing. I don't know, but I'm having fun with the series, and I really enjoyed this last episode. I'm always fans of big battles. I think this show can do battles even bigger. This was like a small taste.
Oh, yeah.
And if you think about like Game of Thrones, the first 18 episodes, you didn't have a single battle.
No.
And it was all just people talking in rooms. And it wasn't until...
Little sword play fun,
Yeah. The first battle is...
Blackwater.
Which, great, but small scale and compared to what comes later down the line. So, like, if this is the first taste of, like, what you can see, oh, God, I just can't wait for that final battle in the last season.
Look at the movies where, like, the big battle at the end of the first one is just a company of orcs and Uruk-hai.
9 dudes versus 60.
And then the next one, you have the Battle of Helm's Deep.
10,000.
It's a ton of them. And then you go, we're at
200,000.
Minas Tirith, and here's the great sword. So it definitely, like...
ramps up, yeah.
Absolutely. So that's what... the show is going to do. And like, you like that little thing? That ain't going to be shit. We're going to do that. That's going to be nothing. In season 2, that'll just be a random episode. We'll do something that big. Just you wait.
And we still have 2 episodes left.
2.
Yeah. I think we're going to go back to seeing all the storylines next week.
Probably.
I mean, we have Galadriel and Arondir in the same place. So now we only really have the Harfoots.
Yeah.
And Isildur. Like, pretty much all the storylines other than the Harfoots are now connected.
Connected in some way. I wonder if it's going to be those weird monster priest people. They find them, and that's how they get pulled into something? Or, like, are they flee them, and they run into someone else? I want to see how they connect to the bigger story. Or maybe they will be kind of outliers for most of the story.
Right.
And then that's a problem for a later season.
Because, from my limited Tolkien knowledge, it's not like hobbits and Harfoots really got themselves involved too much in any of the qualms of men and elves and all that stuff. They kind of...
That's not their bag.
That's not their bag, yeah. Their bag's end.
Steve.
Anyway, enjoying the show. Looking forward to the last 2 episodes.
What do you like better, Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings? If you're going to pick one to continue watching.
I mean... it's close, but I'd probably lean... well...
It's hard. I think I'm more invested in Lord of the Rings now.
Yeah.
But because of everything I know about Game of Thrones, that's an easier...
yeah, it's like...
more rewarding show to watch.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting more out of Game of...
Mordor. See, I can do it too.
God damn. I feel like I'm kind of getting more... like, I'm more interested in the story of House of Dragon, but I'm very excited about the potential of Lord of the Rings. It's like, if House of the Dragon never existed, I wouldn't be upset because I had Game of Thrones. and it's Game of Thrones again, but with more dragons. So like I feel like I've seen the story. I like that story, but this is a new Lord of the Rings thing that I don't know a lot about and has potential to show things that I've always wanted to see on screen. And I think if season 2 they can kind of just work out some of the character kinks, I think this show could be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm more excited about the potential of Rings of Power than I am of House of Dragon. But as of right now, which one do I think is technically better? I'll lean House of Dragon.
Okay.
But
They have
as
a
a,
lot
as
more to
a
juggle for sure.
as a Lord of the Rings, stan, I will always pick that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Well, that's our catch up. Our first
Oh, we're all caught up.
hour. No, we
well,
still have actual movies to talk about now.
Oh yeah.
That was just our like, hey, let's
We're
talk
like 20 minutes in, right?
Yeah. Hour and 17.
Oh shit. All right.
But
Here we go.
the rest of we have 4 things left. I want to talk about Smile,
Okay.
a movie that I absolutely wrote off the first trailer I saw.
That trailer looked like shit to me. Except for that final like head swinging shot. I thought that was fun.
That's probably one of my least favorite things in the movie.
Oh, okay.
It looks goofier in the movie because it lasts longer, and it just doesn't make as much sense as other things that you see. But it looked like another Blumhouse, Truth or Dare, dumb movie. This movie's awesome. I really enjoyed it. I may even like it more than Barbarian. I think Barbarian's probably a better made movie, and,
Sure.
and you get more surprises. This is very run of the mill. You've seen all this before. It's the 3 movies I compare it to. It's okay, The Grudge. So there's a curse that happens to you, and it will catch up to you. It's like The Ring because you have about 7 days before it claims you. And then it's also like Final Destination where, oh, I'm next on death's chopping block. Well, if I kill someone, I can pass the curse off to someone else. So
Like it follows.
or like it, but at least with that, it always comes back to you. This would
okay.
be it, you pass it off. So basic premise, there is a woman who's a psychiatrist. Her mother had killed herself when she was young, and that made her really want to help people with mental illness. She has an older sister who kind of abandoned her, and so she had to stay behind and take care of mom. She's running herself ragged. She has a fiance, and she's working 80-hour weeks and just refuses to take a day off. And she answers the call for a patient that just came in who's saying she's seeing things. There's a thing following her. It could be her family member, or it could just be someone in the crowd, and they have a crazy smile, and just no one will believe her. And of course, the doctor's just like, "Oh, here we go. Here's another crazy person." She's like, "No, look, I'm a smart person. I'm like about to get my PhD. I'm not an idiot. This is actually happening." And she freaks out. Oh my God, the thing's in the room. She goes to make a call to get some security there, and she's standing there with a big ass smile on her face and just cuts herself from ear down through her throat and kills herself. And it's traumatizing. They force her to take a week off. And she's slowly, like all these sort of movies, like the Ring, you gotta put the puzzle pieces together. And the basic gist is this thing possesses someone and makes them kill themselves in front of someone else. And the person that sees it, they now inherit the curse. So she's looking back at, well, this woman saw a teacher smash his head in with a hammer. Okay. And then she investigates that. Well, he saw this woman kill herself by cutting her head off with hedge clippers. There's a hedge clipper thing, which is kind of stupid. If you're going to stab yourself with hedge clippers, you don't open them up and do it. That's just going to cut your belly. You got to keep them closed so it's like a sword stab. Anyhow, so yeah, that's what it is. Like every 3 to 7 days, someone kills themselves in front of someone else out of their control, passes on the curse. And so now she's like, I'm on day 5. What am I going to do? And, but it's really effective with making her seem crazy, and she does a great acting job. That first woman who passes the curse on, awesome job. Like you're really convinced these people are unhinged, losing their mind, and so it just makes you see things and experience things that haven't happened. Like she has a her alarm at her house goes off and back doors open. And of course the alarm people call and like, is everything okay? What's your name? What's your password and everything? And she's like, yeah, I think I'm okay. I'm like, okay, are you alone? I'm like, yeah, I think I'm alone. Like, are you sure you didn't let anything in, Allison? Or whatever her name is. And then all of a sudden her phone rings and she looks down her hand. She's not even holding the receiver. And it is the alarm people. And so it's just fucking with her and it's pretending to be her psychiatrist and just torturing her. And there's a real fucked up scene. Me and Nick, our jaws dropped. So her nephew's having a birthday. Her sister's like, get him an electric train. He loves that shit. Shows up and opens the gift, and it's her fucking dead cat. She unknowingly killed her cat because earlier she's like trying to find it after the alarm fiasco. It's not responding to getting food. And so this kid's like holding up a dead cat. And I knew there was something wrong going to be in the box, but I did not expect a dead cat. And even before like the first scene with the cat, I turned to Nick and like, nothing better fucking happened to this cat. But of course, it always does in horror
was it
movies.
just like a cat that he was like holding by its tail, was just dangling with like
No,
the cat didn't have a head.
No, he was holding it by the scruff of the neck, and it was all intact, but you can tell it was dead.
Okay, got it.
So you don't want me to tell you the ending, or
You can tell me the ending. I probably won't watch the movie. I was just curious to see what this thing looked like.
Well, can I describe it to you? I know you didn't want me to describe it before.
Sure.
Okay. So it takes the form of her mother, and it's got, you remember in It Follows when that woman is standing in front of the doorway and that big thing comes walking down? It kind of looks like that, but looks like her mom. So real long, gangly, almost mama-esque, and its face is not very impressive. It just looks like a woman with some spooky ghost makeup on. Like, ah, man, this entity is kind of depressing, and it doesn't have the greatest voice. There's some parts that I didn't love, but then it's like when it's possessing her at the end, because she's gone to her childhood home that's been abandoned, and she's just trying to figure out a way to solve this. She doesn't want to die in front of someone and pass on the curse. So I thought like, oh, she's just going to go kill herself with no one around, and then the curse is dead. But you know, studio execs are like, no. We could keep making more of these. So of course her ex comes to help her and he witnesses it. But so this big monster thing takes its face and pulls it off. And as it's pulling down, it has like multiple rows of jaws and the mouth is just getting bigger and bigger. And then she like, the entity grabs her head and like pulls her mouth open and starts to climb in, and you know, she's possessed, kills herself, lights herself on fire in front of her ex, passes it on. The end. So I'll gladly see more of these, but the thing that really elevates this is two-part. There's a lot of jump scares, but they didn't bother me because they're more like scene transition jump scares. Like music will be silent and then next scene and a car zips by and it's really loud. There's a lot of those, but I think they're effective. There's not too many like just face jumping up and screaming at you like a bagul. But it has really good sound design. Like the music is integrated with really creepy sounds and like almost sense a beat that's about to start happening, but it's just like ambient noise and weird pops and clicks. It's really effective, and I think if it was given to, you know, lesser sound editor, it could have been pretty generic and boring, but it really sets the stage, and I highly enjoyed this movie. I was very surprised.
Now, would you say the movie had like a message to say, kind of like how Hereditary is kind of about like dealing with, you know, grief and that kind of stuff, or like the Babadook is said to be about grief? Like, would you say this one is just like mental illness is bad, and like the trauma of mental illness can affect other people? Or is that just like a light undertone that's like isn't really it's just about the jump scares?
I think it may just be about the jump scares, but I bet you could dig into it and like, yeah, look, the things that your actions have consequences that affect other people, and also believe people when they say there's something wrong with them. And it's really nice that it is a psychiatrist, because she knows she sounds crazy. She's now saying all the things her patients has ever said, and nobody believed that these things are happening to them, and now it's happening to her. So I think maybe the main message would just be, you know, if someone's in trouble, listen to them, because they may not just be crazy. But
It's some smiley demon monster.
yeah, wait for Smile 2 and Smile 3.
Yeah, this whole time you were talking, I was like, "What's the title for Smile 2?"
Yeah.
It's like I just couldn't. Like the best I came up with like you do smiles but like the two kind of looks like a.
No,
But
no.
it's like that doesn't really
That
work.
worked better for your
a five.
screams
For
when
your
it was
scream.
Scream 5 and
Yeah,
it'd be
yeah.
Screams. I don't know. It'd probably just be Smile.
Smile to death.
Or no, it's. I bet it's gonna be like Smile, the continuing curse of blah, whatever. Because it doesn't give it a name. You know,
Yeah.
call it Grinwald or something like that. But yeah, highly recommend. Check it out. Once again, another great horror movie for 2022. Good year. It's a shame that you're such a movie snob, Steve, and you refuse to watch good shit like this.
No, I watch good horror movies.
Yeah, you watch Barbarian?
There's just not too many of them.
But you got to take the risk. That's the whole thing. I watched another horror movie. It was like Gojin Haunted Asylum. Heard it was a really good, like Grave Encounters style. People filming in a haunted asylum for a website and catch a ghost on tape. And it's fine. It has some effective things. There are scenes in Grave Encounters that you go, oh, that doesn't seem human. You know, it's a special effect, but like that's a spooky monster thing. Where in this, it's, oh, it just feels like people in makeup pretending to be spooky monsters. So like there are parts where, you know, everyone's got a GoPro on and someone's like face gets all close and they're like, and it's kind of funny. It's supposed to be creepy, but it's just a little silly. So I think it was an effective movie, but you know, it's fine. But I'm not talking about that any more than I have to. Yeah, so Smile.
Right. So I watched a movie this week that you watched last week. I watched Olivia Wilde's Don't Worry, Darling.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you did. I didn't expect you were because I wanted to say more, but I didn't want to spoil anything.
I had time to kill. So I was like, it's kind of like the only thing I can see that my wife didn't really care about seeing. So I thought this movie was just okay.
Okay.
It felt to me like an extended Black Mirror episode.
For sure.
Which, like, I'm not against because I'm a big fan of Black Mirror. And I think it's just, I think Florence Pugh was great.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, like, it had a bunch of ideas that didn't quite execute them all that well.
Sure.
And it's not like you could really figure out what this was.
A second rewatch isn't going to answer anything for you.
Yeah, until the end. So, because like she's having like these hallucinations and stuff, but you don't really get why.
It's like she's a bug in the program.
Yeah, it's like seeing her friend's traumatic event, like set her off, and like
could be.
I guess
maybe she's more strong-willed. We don't know.
Yeah. Because then you have like these scenes where you have the shots of like the dancing,
the ballerina
troops or whatever, which I guess are used as sort of like a brainwashing vision thing. Maybe I don't like. It was all just kind of.
It's a lot of questions with not a lot of answers.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of cool imagery, but they kind of don't really amount to much.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that it turns out it was a simulation because I didn't quite see that coming. I knew something was. I thought it was going to be like an M. Night Shyamalan thing where like, the whole time I was like, there's got to be a modern day world.
Yeah,
it's just outside of wherever they are. But it's like, how are they going to have a whole separate like area to themselves, like some weird culty area without like interacting with them stuff. So, the fact that it was just a program and all the dudes leaving to go work at the plant were actually like, I'm going to the real world
so I can work my shit job
so I can come back to here. But it's just like that could have been a fun thing to explore because like, oh, what's better to live in the outside world and be real or live in this world where it's better. And it's like but it could have gone into the idea of just like, oh well, this movie's about like how men trap women and force them into these sort of like almost slave-like work, like the slave-like
this mold
world
of what women should be.
Because I thought maybe some of the concept behind this movie was just like kind of how Trump is just like, make America great again. Like, we need to go back to the old American values. But it didn't really lean into any of that either. No. It was just like, there was this Chris Pine's character was just like, know what? I made this thing. If you want to, it's like, you never really got a sense of like how you
like you saw Harry Styles listening to this guy's podcast at the end of the movie, and I guess that's where he got the idea. But like this tech can't be like
Commonplace.
illegal
No,
or
yeah.
commonplace. It's just like, so he just like found this dude online. Just like, hey man, sounds cool. It's like, well, let me give you this test from this stuff. And I'm interested. It's like, okay, so if you die in the brain, it's like the Matrix. If you die in here, you die in the real world.
Yeah.
Which I can get behind because it's just like, oh, it's a computer
It's a
program.
brain thing.
It's a brain
You
thing.
kill the brain, brain's
But I'm also interested, like, how I just have so many questions.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so she finds out that she's in some sort of something's not right here, and she's on to their plan. So they like give her like the electric lobotomy or whatever you call it, electroshock therapy.
Yes.
And it just kind of fries her brain and like kind of
resets her. Yeah.
Which makes you wonder.
I think
like,
it just like makes you more susceptible to the brainwashing again to put you back under.
It seemed like a movie that had a lot of ideas that just didn't really go into them. Because like at the end, when you find out Olivia Wilde was like one of the women who was like, no, I'm here on purpose because in here I get to be with my children. That's a lovely concept.
Yeah.
That's a movie in itself, or just like something you could have expanded on. But
and why not? Why didn't Harry Styles like give her an option of going? Because like if Olivia Wilde can go in on her own, there are plenty of people who are like, yeah, let's run away from all this and just play the part. Like, but or is it more because we see that he's kind of a loser in their marriage? Is it more of a thing for guys to be able to trap their wives in? Like, look, I love my wife, but I can't live in this world anymore. She's not going to go for this, so I have to trap her. I have to trick her. And like, how many of them are because they're trying to save their marriage, or is it, because for all we know, you could take someone off the street, strap him to this thing, and then make him your wife. So I like you said, there's a lot to explore.
You never see any of these other guys in the real world. The only person you don't even see Chris Pine in the real world.
I like to believe he's like super fat.
Oh yeah, I imagine
basement
he's
dwelling nasty dude. But his wife seemed to be in on it because she stabs him at the end and goes like, "Oh, now it's my turn, baby."
Well, no, but yeah, that's the other thing. Like at the ending, it just kind of like had all the women realizing like something's not right here, but like there was no context as to like why they were like, they just saw their friend freaking out and they're just like, I guess there is something wrong here. And then Gemma Chan's character, what's her face from Eternals?
Yeah,
like just stabs him. It's like she realized something was off, so she killed him to like get out.
No, I think she was part of the program because she was just like, this is what happens when men run it. Now it's my turn. I think she was a partner with the thing. And it was like, this is our opportunity to usurp him, but that's never alluded to.
Yeah,
and
it just never
just cut it out.
I didn't quite get what her motivation was.
Just
for
make it
doing
seem
that.
like everyone's waking up and she just happens to be one of them.
Yeah.
Like, what are the earthquakes? Is that just like someone on their beds, but they're all experiencing it? Is it an update in the program, and you hide it by doing an earthquake for the town? There's why did she see a red plane and the little boy had a red plane when he went out there? What's the connection there? There's a lot of things, but I am perfectly fine not knowing any of it.
Yeah,
because I think it is just fun enough to go like, oh, here's an idea, and just whatever, have fun with it. You don't get to have all the answers for this one story. Fuck it, just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, I just think that there's better stories there, or like they just needed more time, because it just kind of just like, here's this movie and now here's this ending.
Yeah,
and just take it as it is.
She's gonna wake up strapped to a bed next to her dead husband. I mean, hopefully in the apartment she could scream loud enough and get loose.
I mean, you see her at the end and she's like dancing around her apartment, and I guess like, oh yeah, I guess she had a happy ending or whatever.
I hope.
But it's like, does she take down the corporate? Is it a corporate? Like,
it could just be some smart dude's little project.
Yeah, it's like, does she figure it out? It's like, it just seems, it's like, are there contingencies in place? Because it's like, oh, she's making a run for it. If she gets out, we're all screwed. So I was like, okay, she's going to get out and then call the police. Like, what if these guys had a change of heart where they're just like, oh man, I feel really bad that I've been like taking advantage of my wife in this fake world. It's like,
let me wake her up.
Ooh,
that's a conversation.
I know. So I don't know. I guess they did a pretty good job of making Harry Styles look ugly.
Yeah. And throw some glasses on and give him long hair.
But that's the other. It's like it's funny that's like here's this ugly version of Harry Styles in quotation marks, and then you jump into this world and he's like handsome. It's like okay, so all this dude has to do is slick back his hair, like cut his hair, put some gel in it, and put on a suit, and he'll look like the perfect version of himself.
Sure.
Like he has to do so little work to look like that.
But
versus,
that's
like,
just the look, you know.
Sure.
Who knows what he's done? And I mean, he seems to be a non-contributing partner. He's just home. She's working all these hours, and he's doing nothing.
Of course.
So he definitely has to do a little
he's got
more.
a ton of stuff to work
But you
on.
want to spark that relationship.
I'm just saying, if he wanted to look good, it would take so little effort.
Yeah.
Where like I like the idea of like, oh, all the other guys in this world are actually like fat or ugly or look nothing
Nick
like.
Kroll.
It's like it's interesting. It's funny that I mean I imagine they have to look somewhat like themselves because maybe it helps their female partners do that transition
For sure.
because otherwise it just seems weird. It's like, oh, I can look like anybody. I guess I'll look like Nick Kroll. It's like I don't know if you choose
Nick
that.
Kroll. Yeah.
I mean, Nick Kroll's a handsome man, but not who I think most people would go like.
Yeah.
You know what celebrity I want to look like? Nick Kroll.
Yeah, it would be a town full of Chris Pines.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, man, everyone here is like really good looking. This is so weird. So yeah, I think it's a movie with fun ideas, and you could have gone a bunch of different ways and explored it. But it none of whatever its message was didn't really land for me, and by the end I was just like, okay, that was fine. I think it could have just been a Black Mirror episode, and it could have just been written off as like it was good for a television episode.
Yeah,
but as a film, I was like, I think you could have done more.
Give it 10 years, and it will also get a Showtime TV series, and they'll be able to flesh it out then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's one of the things I liked about Inception, because they kind of like teased that idea, but you never really got much into it. Where they go to like that back alley place where they're doing this, and there's just like people on like cots who are just like, why live in the real world when the dream world's you could be and do anything? It's like, oh well, that's a fun concept, but we didn't ever see that. No,
but this is like beta testing. You know, you only have a few families or a few couples to do it. Yeah, I'd say Olivia Wilde's 2 for 2 so far.
I mean, Booksmart was one of my favorite films of that year. Yeah, I don't think this will make I think this is a C+ for me.
Okay, I think I gave it a B. B or B+. I did.
Yeah.
I want to say B. Well, I think it's time, Steve.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
It's October. That means
we're finally in the spookiest month of the year.
Spooky, scary time.
And being our 50th episode, you know, we started with a real big piece of shit to kick this thing off. Let's finish off the first 50 with another big piece of shit.
Okay.
We're talking about Rob Zombie's The Munsters.
And in case you haven't guessed, we didn't like it.
Now, I'm conflicted. I'm not going to say it's good. I'm not going to say I liked it, but there are things I like about this movie and actors I like and takes. I don't think this is... I'd rather watch this than Space Jam again. No,
not me.
I think there's a lot more charm and heart and actual passion for the project in The Munsters, and Space Jam is soulless.
Well, I think I could make the argument, or I could get behind the argument that this is a fan film that the fan happens to be a well-known director.
Mm-hmm. This is a very expensive vanity project.
Yeah, but I'd say it's not a passion project. It's a fan film because it's not well made or good. It's just like, hey, I like this thing and I want to make something. Mm-hmm. So good or bad, here it is.
Yeah.
Versus, at least in Space Jam, like you have the Looney Tunes.
Sure.
Which I can enjoy watching the Looney Tunes even though they're not in their normal form.
Sure.
And I like basketball. So
and you got all the background characters of hey, look at that, hey, look at that.
This feels soulless to me.
Really? See, I really enjoy Lily and Herman's relationship. I like how wholesome it is, and like all they really care about is just finding love, and they find it in each other, and it doesn't matter what's going on, they are just perfect for each other, and it's just very sweet and definitely PG. Like they never kiss on the lips. It's always just cheek kisses because you know the show back in the day you couldn't get too gratuitous with that sort of
Sure.
thing. But I like, so we have these two monster shows. We have the Munsters and we have the Addams Family. And I was always more of an Addams Family person just because
I think everyone is.
people love the Munsters because they are a really sweet family who have really good intentions. They just happen to look like monsters, and they're good parents, and it's just everybody around them who they don't know how weird they are.
Yeah.
They think they're normal. And with the Addams Family, they think they're normal, but they are aware
Of how weird they are.
of how weird they are in the bigger world. Like the monsters are absolutely oblivious to the rest of the world. But I like that both couples are like so madly in love with each other. Like Herman and Lily are just gaga over each other, and it's just so sweet and cute. And then Morticia and Gomez are like, they're
Passionate.
boning down as many times as they can. Like they even, when they wrote the original, the movie adaptation, they said like, this needs to be like PG-13, but we need to know they fuck. Like they love each other so much that they throw everything away just to like have each other, and they're just not afraid to show their love in front of their kids, and it's just really sweet. So I like that we have these kind of similar shows with similar characters that kind of take it in different ways, and I think this is a pretty okay adaptation, especially being a prequel when they're still young. They haven't had their kid yet. They haven't settled down completely. So it's a little sillier. But I think this is an okay movie adaptation of the original show. It's just ugly and a little annoying.
I appreciate.
Oh, and cringy. It's just like, it's not funny. I mean, I laughed quite a bit. I laughed more than I thought, or at least I chuckled more. But I just think you have to know what you're getting into. If you could let your expectations of what a good movie is, and you just take it for what it is, there's some funny, charming things in this movie.
Yeah, but I don't. There's a certain aspect to know what you're getting into. It's just like, okay, I'm gonna go to this party where I'm not gonna know anybody. I might not have the best time, but I'm gonna, like, I know what I'm getting into, so I know I can sort of prepare myself mentally and just like I can find a way to have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
But I know like it might not be the best time because maybe not all my friends are there. Versus like, oh, I'm going to this restaurant that has 0.5-star reviews. I know what I'm getting into. I'll probably have some bad food. It's like, no, you're gonna have poisonous food, and that's what this movie was to me. It's like, yeah, I know watching it, I was gonna hate it, and it was gonna be bad, and I was hoping for something that I would like about it. And there's one thing I'll say that I thought was pretty solid, but it's just there's nothing redeeming to me in this movie. Like the filmmaking aspects was bad, the acting was bad, the jokes were bad,
the makeup, the lighting,
just everything
everything was like a crazy Dutch angle.
Everything in this movie was bad. It gave me food poisoning, this movie. If this was restaurants, I knowing that I was going to get food poisoning didn't make my food poisoning hurt less.
Okay,
that's what I'm trying to say.
But see, at least when you know you're about to get food poisoning, you can not go on that roller coaster a little bit later. You can go sit on your toilet because you know what you're getting into. I don't know what that means.
I'm just saying, thank God we watched other stuff after this, because if this was what I watched for the day, I'd probably be livid for the rest of the day. And I'd be telling my wife, like, babe, let me explain this whole movie to you, because you need to understand how bad. Like, I need to tell you everything, so I feel like I'm getting it off my chest, because I need therapy. Not that it was like, mentally destroying, but I did feel drained. Anyway, I'll say the one good thing,
okay,
and then we can get into all the bad. The one good thing, I thought the set design was actually pretty good for this film.
Yeah.
Not so much like, I'm not talking about the lighting, like that's a whole different topic, but like the look of the castle, and I think the big room where he made Herman and everything. Like, I think that there is some wide shots, and like I thought that like Monster Town. I mean, yeah, it's silly that everything's got like these neon lights and stuff, but I thought the background sets did look good for several of the bits. And then there's other, but sometimes in a room and it's like, oh, this looks like a really, really cheap set.
Yeah. This looks like a Halloween themed McDonald's commercial for their new Happy Meal.
Yeah, I think all the stuff outside, the big sets look good. It was all the stuff inside when you're like really in the close-ups where you're like looking around the rooms, where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
they got all this stuff at like the dollar store and put some spider webs on it
Yeah.
and stuff. You know? So I think there's some sets that look good. It's just that the sets also were so blown out with like pink neon lights and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like
Fucking Batman Forever in here.
Oh yeah, it really was. So just such a weird choice to just put everything in those colored lights.
And he did say, like, when he saw everybody in their makeup, and he's like, wow, they look like walking cartoon characters. I can't shoot this in black and white like the original show. I gotta show it all. So that's fine.
It's a choice.
But he is a little green. I think they could have gone a little more realistic. Now, it didn't have to be grotesque or anything, but maybe a fleshier looking green. But he is just like Shrek costume green. He's real bright. Yes, the lights are quite ugly. The sets are fine. Whatever. Music's not very good. Some weird music choices in the movie as well.
The best song I think was probably the rock song that they played weirdly in the first like 35 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't like the Sonny and Cher of like kind of good singing and then really ridiculous squeaky voice.
We'll get to his voice in a minute.
My favorite thing is I think Sherry Moon Zombie is really good in this. I love her as Lily. I think she does a really good job of like doing the mannerisms, and I think she nailed the character.
Okay, full disclosure, I haven't seen the original Munsters, so I have no previous. The only bit of the Munsters I've seen is like that clip that resurfaces every like 6 months on Reddit or whatever of just like Herman talking to his son about like race. It's like, oh, this is a nice moment. Like, what a cool thing to show in like the 60s or 7, whatever it was.
A lot of sweet moments in the show.
Yeah, but so maybe she's really encapsulating that style of acting from Lily at the time. But she was like constantly like jerking her shoulders and arms and hands. It's like she was always having a mini seizure, talking like, "Oh, Herman," and I wish it's so jerky. I was like, that's not how. I know she's not human per se, but it's like
I don't think she's like spazzy or it's like unnecessary. Like every time she moves to do something, it's exaggerated and it's like quick and stop. But it's not like she's just freaking out. I think it worked really well.
But what I'm saying is, if you met a woman who moved like that every day, every time she spoke, you'd be like, girl, you can just sit down and chill, all right? Relax.
Now, I could understand not liking Herman's voice. And that's...
He's the best actor in this movie.
He's really put it all out there. He's like channeling some Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
I really like Herman, but the problem is his voice. The actor from the original... I can't remember his name, but he was in My Cousin Vinny as the judge. He has such a great commanding voice, and it was perfect for Herman and his laugh, his big boisterous laugh and slapping tables and stuff. It really worked. He's not imitating that. It's almost like this is the prepubescent version. Like, yeah, his voice will deepen as he gets older.
He essentially was born yesterday.
Sure, yes, but he is made up of men vocal cords and men body parts. So his voice is a little cartoonish and doesn't fit that character as well as the original. But I think for what they were going, it worked well enough.
I mean, I think he did give the best performance, and I think he was the one who was like really tapping in. And I think it also helps that I think Herman's probably he probably had the most to work with in terms of like that actor going back and watching those episodes. It's like Herman is probably the most written character on that show, being the male lead and stuff. Yeah, so I think that was an easier challenge, I guess, for him. So yeah, I didn't hate his performance compared to everyone else's, but I did find him annoying with that laugh. Yeah. Because like the first time it's like, oh geez, and then it just kept happening, and you're like, I want to stab my ears because I don't want to hear this guy's laugh anymore.
Sure. Yeah.
And everyone was putting in exaggerated performances, so there were some times where just like, I know they're supposed to be like they're eating fried scorpions and stuff. It's like, oh, they're weirdo monsters, so they're gonna be weird, but it's like people acting this way, it's so I can't get behind it when it's just like you're a real life cartoon character. It's like, and I'm supposed to be rooting for you because you're like acting like a child, or you're doing these dumb things that no one else who's your age, or it's like some of these people, it's like, oh, I'm the count. I'm guessing he's like 400 years
Yeah.
old, or you have like the Nosferatu guy,
Mm-hmm.
who I assume is like 1,000, and
Yeah.
it's like he's out there partying at the DJ thing. And it's just like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah,
here?
the first 30 minutes is really rough with
Oh God.
he's not Dr. Frankenstein, but he's the doctor who brings Herman to life. All that stuff is not very good. I didn't mind the Hunchback all that much, but the dating, I felt like we were like they really wanted to have to be What We Do in the Shadows level of comedy and similar kind of world, vampire in the real world, yada yada. But it doesn't reach it. It needs to be PG, and so you can't be nearly as funny, I think, with how clean it is. But I do like the idea of like, oh, she's going on a date, and who would a monster woman date? Other weird monster people. And I kind of would have liked to seen her go on multiple dates, and oh, she's dating a mummy the next one, and then the creature from the Black Lagoon, but this one Nosferatu guy, I think he's pretty funny until it gets to that dancing part. There's just some real cringy things
Yeah,
that are
I mean,
unnecessary.
I didn't like anything up to that point, but it was when he did the dance in front of the neon sign that said, "If the tomb is a rockin',
Yeah.
don't come a knockin'."
Hmm.
I was like, okay, this movie just became an F. Like it signed its death warrant 10 minutes in, because I doubt you're gonna be able to redeem this after this. I'll say that I think Nosferatu makeup looked good.
Yeah.
I think that looked like movie level monster stuff, where everyone else just looks like,
Yeah.
oh, you went to the
You put some fake
a
teeth
Spirit
in.
of Halloween
Yeah.
and got the makeup, and because
Well, look, I'm a hunchback. I stuffed my hoodie under this cloak, and that's my hump.
yeah, but just I've never seen so many attempts at jokes that have
Yeah.
not made me laugh. Like
Yeah.
I can watch a comedy movie and maybe not laugh out loud a bunch, but like I'm smiling, or like I'll let out a little, like
Yeah.
I'll blow some air out my nose.
Yeah.
But this, I just felt like I had a frown on the entire time.
I found myself also blowing air out of my nose throughout because it was I realized like it was quite annoying in the beginning, but then I just told myself like this is gonna be dumb. So just embrace it. If you were like a 6-year-old kid and this is, the spooky Halloween thing your parents let you watch, but with my knowledge of adult humor, just go with it. And I found a few bits quite funny. Don't ask me to like repeat any jokes. There
Yeah.
was a joke all of us laughed at.
Yeah, there was one. I was just about to admit there was a joke that did make me laugh. I can't remember what it was.
But I think the reason those jokes work, it's like you could tell me an average joke and I would have laughed, because the other 40 jokes beforehand were like awful. It's just like it was such a relief to get like one that like, oh, that one
That's
actually
a real
kind of landed.
Yeah.
I'll take it. And I mean, full disclosure, there was 4 of us in the room watching this. Only you made it through the entire movie before
Yeah.
the rest of us fell asleep.
Yeah.
I work nights, so I have a minor excuse. But I watched an hour and 10 minutes of it. Everyone else got like either 5 minutes in or
30 minutes. And
Yeah.
it was funny because he was like laughing at jokes that are stupid, but he was like half asleep. So his brain's just like not processing it
Yeah,
properly.
I thought he was awake the whole time because
Nah.
I kept saying stuff and he was reacting to it. Like every time I sighed, he laughed.
Yeah, because I think that's just his brain going like, oh, Steve is having a bad time. That's funny. Laugh, continue to sleep.
So yeah, of the hour and 45 minutes or whatever this movie is, I made it like an hour and 10,
Yeah.
I think, in. But
And some of the best stuff is towards the end. So you need to go back and finish that up, Steve.
I will not. But if any of you people in the comments were just like, well, if you didn't finish the movie, you can't judge it
rate
fairly.
Yeah. You've never seen
Fuck
original
you.
episode. You can't rate it. No, it's fine.
No, at the first 10 minutes told me everything I need to know about this
Take
movie.
it for face value. It shouldn't have to be well, if you knew the lore, this would make a lot more sense. Like, well, then you did a bad job of writing and catching me up.
I think this movie could have gone from an F to at least a D had it just stayed black and white.
Yeah?
I think I
don't
don't
know.
think that having any of the, I mean, Yeah, some of the color stuff, like you wouldn't get the effect of like the neon signs and stuff.
Yeah.
If the Tuma Rockin' or whatever sign would have looked bad in black
Maybe,
and white,
yeah.
but you could have still had that joke just on like a sign that's just like his hotel or
Yeah.
whatever. Or like
You make it look like an old sign that's like painted like a ye old tavern thing.
yeah, yeah.
And you just
It's
have
like,
it
oh, this
tacked
is
up.
my place.
Yeah.
And that joke still would have been there. But I'm not going to say it would have worked. But I'm just saying, I think it would have harkened back to the original look that everyone was a fan of. And I think it would have hidden some of your like lower production quality. And even if that like those sets looked bad, still like you could tell like, oh, those are clearly like really fake looking sets.
Yeah.
That could be part of the charm because like, oh, look, it's an old style
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
Versus like, oh, this is a new film with updated everything, but it still looks like shit.
Yeah.
Where like you could have leaned on that, like, oh, well, it looks bad because it's old in quotation
Yeah.
marks.
I think not that I like it, but the Johnny Depp Shadow, what's that called?
What we do in the shadows?
Hmm.
Oh, no,
Yeah. Oh, Dark Shadows. Sorry.
Dark Shadows.
Yeah.
Like that did a pretty good job of going like, look, things look old, but at least we have some color. It's not completely black and white, but it's not fucking neons everywhere. I think that's the good balance between the extremes of pure black and
God, I
white or
forgot
pure
about Dark
neon.
Shadows.
I know.
That movie sucks.
That was my least favorite of that year.
I don't
It's a
remember
bad
anything
movie.
that happens in that movie. I think there's a party at the end.
That's about it.
Doesn't he jump off a cliff to catch the girl?
I remember there's a werewolf. What's her name? Young three-named woman.
Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yes, she was a werewolf,
Jesus.
and that like when he woke up, there was a McDonald's sign. I think like he saw it as some I don't know. Anyway,
We're not-
bad movie.
Yeah.
Bad movie. Okay, would you rather rewatch Dark Shadows or The Munsters?
Oh, Dark Shadows 100%.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that just because you don't remember it, so it'd be okay to rewatch it again?
Yeah, well,
You'll never forget The Munsters.
I think that I know the actors in there regardless of
mm-hmm.
the story of that movie. Those actors are good, and even when Johnny Depp is at his worst,
He's still got halfway decent performances.
Did you see that there's a Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial movie coming out?
of course there is.
It's the same year that the trial came out. You can't do that.
You gotta get
No!
it on the hot, baby.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Do not care. Yeah.
And you get Timothy Chalamet as Johnny Depp. He's like 20, 30 years younger than him, but
Whatever,
age him up, put some makeup on him.
Yeah.
And then
You know what they should do? They should just hire Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Amber Heard might do it. She needs money.
can you imagine? Like, how do you pitch that? It's like, hey, babe, like I know we just went through this very public divorce and everyone fucking hates both of us. But what if we capitalize on this?
Mhm.
I make some money, get back in the limelight. I put on a great performance, win an Oscar, maybe.
Yeah.
You
gotta play the piece of shit.
You gotta play the piece of shit, but you can make the money that pays me more money.
Yeah. And you'll get to shit on my bed again. They'll do it for real.
Can you imagine the conspiracy theories of just like none of this actually happened. They never hurt each other. They hurt themselves to go this trial, to be this public thing, to get all this publicity.
Just for a movie.
Just for a movie idea. I could see it.
Oh man, we're such real actors. We're gonna go super meta with this.
This Johnny Depp, he's the greatest actor of all time.
Yeah, so anyway, back to the Munsters. Yeah.
Yeah. What else is there to say?
Yeah, just...
I'm looking forward to the sequel.
Did they tease at the end like, oh, I'm pregnant or anything like that?
No, nothing like that.
Okay.
No. That's a little raunchy for them. We know they have a son later, but we can't know how they had a son.
Because the son is
He's a werewolf.
Oh, the son's a werewolf. Right,
Yeah.
right.
And then the human woman is their niece. I always thought it was their daughter. And thought that was so funny that like two monster people would just have a regular person. But no, it's her niece. So does that mean it's because Herman doesn't have relatives as far as we know? Maybe in the show he did. So that'd be Lily's brother's kid. So the Wolfman had a normal daughter, but I guess a Wolfman is more of a curse so maybe you could give birth to a normal kid, but unless you bite them, only then they become a werewolf.
Sure.
Yeah.
We're thinking too much into it.
Yeah. The deep lore of Munsters. Hey, but there is a Spot. They found that monster in the sewer. That's a monster that lives under their stairs in the show. It would always be like, oh, you got to feed Spot, and they'd lift the stairs and fire would blow out. They'd throw a piece of meat in and close it. You never really got to see the monster from what I remember.
Yeah.
So that was a cute little thing. We got to see the origin of Spot.
Cool. So if there's one thing you would change about this movie, or I got like, yeah, what would you change about this movie? Like, what hurt you the most, or
I would say it
what would make this movie the more improved?
It needs a couple of little things. This feels like the movie was probably made in an echo chamber of Rob Zombie and Sherry Moon Zombie going like, we love this shit. This is so funny. Oh, remember this? This is a good callback to episode 36. Oh, only the true fans are going to see this. And they just went whole hog on it. It needed it's a lot like Phantom Menace where, everybody surrounding George Lucas was just like, you're doing the best. This is amazing. Oh, you're a genius. And he really needed outside help to make it better because Empire Strikes Back is considered the best Star Wars. He didn't even direct it. He had other people help him with it. So I think this movie needed someone to look at the script, tighten up maybe find actual comedians, write these jokes because he's a musician. She's an actress. They're not funny people.
Sure.
So they probably needed a comedian's touch. And Rob Zombie's not the greatest director. He's not the worst. Like I said, I love Lords of Salem, and that's nice and weird, but I really don't like Devil's Rejects and all that. Then his Halloween movies are just somewhere in the middle. Like some are okay looking, some are bad. And this is so out of his element. Like Robert Rodriguez is really good going back and forth between a crazy action film and then a kids movie. Most of his kids movies look like shit, but at least he knows what he's doing.
Sure.
Rob Zombie's not that guy. So maybe, give this to Robert Rodriguez. Maybe it would be a bit better. Work on Herman's voice because he's like a wascally wabbit when he's talking. He's just so high pitched. And Herman's a bit more, subdued and monotone. So just little production things. And I think it could have been like a sleeper hit. Did you hear Hocus Pocus 2 is real shit? I heard it's real bad.
So I have nieces who are really into Hocus Pocus, and so when this was coming out, my sister and her kids were all pretty excited, and I had a feeling that was going to be bad because any sequel that comes out 20 plus years later, other than Top Gun Maverick,
pretty much,
and that's going to be the standard. Everybody will go like, "Well, you shouldn't do it. It's been too long." Like, but look at Top Gun. We could do a Top Gun.
Yeah, we're not like the worst we're going to do is like break even, or it's going to be a huge hit.
Yep.
So,
but I heard it's not very good. They were just like, it was just okay.
Yeah.
It
why even bother
Bette Midler's
bringing?
like 73 or
And it's not like Sarah Jessica Parker's some young filly anymore.
They're all 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
It's just who cares?
Yeah, and
not that age really has anything to do with it, but it's
and if it's worked into the story, that's fine. But why even bother? And I have a feeling with the Willow show, it's going to be the same thing. It's like we have a property, we need to sell time, we need to get subscriptions on our service. Let's just do it. And they're maybe not finding the right people to adapt it. And there's no point in doing it if you're not going to do it well. Because if you do a Hocus Pocus 2 and it kills, Hocus Pocus 3 is right around the corner. But there's never going to be another Hocus Pocus movie.
I don't know what happens, but there is a tease apparently at the end, which is like, oh, well, this is going to lead into the third one. But I mean, I like the first Hocus Pocus movie.
It's fine.
But I also I rewatched it recently, and it's like, as an adult, it's just fine.
Yeah.
But I can see why kids would like it.
I don't see why it's so popular though. It has such a following, and it's just okay.
I think it's just a nostalgia thing.
Yeah. You saw it when you were a kid, so it had to have been good.
Yeah. You said Robert Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
I think this movie could have been awesome if it was done by Mr. Jordan Peele. And I know that's kind of like it's like, why don't you just give it to Spielberg? But that's not who I would give it to. I mean, this is my Jordan Peele pitch. One, the dude clearly knows horror. His last three movies have been horror films. And yes, this is a horror film, but he knows the context of where these creatures come from and can pull from the horror genre when he needs to because he just understands that world. But what he also really knows is comedy. And I think he could really rewrite this movie and it's like, it's not just the Munsters, it's Munsters for the modern day. And really have some great, clever jokes and really give everyone moments to shine and maybe even cast like non-white actors. Not that it is necessarily important, but then you could do a story about like the Munsters, who are this like weird fish out of water characters.
We don't want you in our town.
We don't want you like you could lean to that direction if you want
Sure.
to, and you could really put heart behind it and be a story of just like it's not what we look like, it's who we are as people, and do that kind of story. And just like I think the jokes would hit. I think the horror elements would work, and I think you could really put some like if he was just a super fan of the Munsters, like growing up, like this was one of his favorite shows, I think he could knock it out of the park and like really make it something special. But instead we got this dude who's just like, man, when I was a kid, I like this thing because I'm a horror fan. This was the only horror comedy show out there. But I'm not qualified to do comedy or children's aspects or whatever. So it's just like a guy who liked a thing who wasn't qualified to do it versus like if Jordan Peele liked the Munsters, he would be qualified in both aspects and crush it.
All right, so let's compromise. We'll have Jordan Peele write it. Robert Rodriguez could direct it.
Deal.
Okay. Came to an agreement. You got anything else for it?
This movie should not have been made. I never want to see it again or talk about it again, but it's going to be in my brain and I think in our friendship mythos as, oh, remember when we watched that thing? And it'll live in infamy as one of my least favorite movies ever made.
And a year from now, when we do another bracket, it's probably going to be on that bottom bracket, automatically.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to our end of the year wrap up, best of, worst of, because I'd be shocked if this wasn't my number one least favorite film.
I definitely have to go back through things,
but even the past year of the past 20. Past decade.
I don't think this will make my worst of the year. There's enough in here that I enjoyed it, and there's other movies that I actually hate. I don't hate this movie.
Okay, but I mean, you watch a lot of bad shit, so I can't really disagree with you there.
All right, well, let's get to the real main event. We have, I think, 6 different cream sodas to try, and
2 Mountain Dew flavors.
Yes, we got 2 Mountain Dew flavors that are just we want to try but we don't want to pay for it, but I bit the bullet and I bought single cans. I wasn't going to buy a whole 20 ounce or a 12 pack or anything. So we'll try do you want to try those first, or do you want to try that at the end so it doesn't ruin our taste buds for cream soda?
I was thinking we'd do them at the end.
Okay.
Because
it's a palate cleanser.
I was gonna say because I'm not gonna drink 6 or at least half of 6 different cream sodas, but I'll probably finish that whole Mountain Dew.
We'll take fiery one.
Well, I'm hoping the Voodoo one's kind of good, and you'll let me have that one.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get that set up. We have 6 different types of, and I'm putting air quotes here, cream soda. Some of these don't say cream soda. Some of them just say like vanilla cream, but you know what it is. I think the most odd one is the Canada Dry. I think it will be their equivalent, but Canada Dry is a ginger ale. So is it a ginger ale vanilla soda, or is it just a cream soda? Yeah. But Steve, why don't you run us down the line of he has put them in order of what he wants to try from least to most, or what at least maybe you would think are the best just based off looks.
Yeah, I mean, I've had one before and I really, really like that one. Some of it's based on looks, some of it's based on just what I think I imagine would taste bad. Right. And yeah, so
let's start with the top one.
Genuine Hank's Gourmet Vanilla Cream Soda.
Okay.
We have Boylan Bottling Company's Cream.
Just Boylan Bottling Company cream.
Boylan Bottling Company Cream, yeah. It says
Okay.
cane sugar, but it doesn't say cream soda, but I
Okay.
would think it is a cream soda.
Yeah.
We have the Reading Draft Vanilla Cream, I assume from Reading, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Had a friend that was on a trip and grabbed a couple of oddballs out there.
Has a classic sort of old-timey look.
Mhm.
So it could either be great because it's old-timey or terrible because it's old-timey. We have what I would think would be the most famous one, which is A&W cream soda.
Probably a nice baseline.
Baseline, middle of the road. That's why I have it in the middle. We have the Canada Dry vanilla cream.
Mhm.
So that is either ginger ale with vanilla cream flavor or vanilla cream soda with ginger ale flavor. Who knows?
I don't know. We'll see.
And then we have Faygo cream soda.
Yeah, the oddball out here. I'm surprised. I have two little bodegas right next to my apartment. I think they're run by like the same family and they just occupy two spots and double their chances because they both had Faygo cream soda and they have lots of different flavors of Faygo. I think I've only had Faygo once or twice in my life. I had a friend who was really into ICP at one point, but getting Faygo in Nebraska wasn't the easiest thing. So I think I've had it in my travels. So I'm most excited for that one because I have no idea what that's going to taste like.
Yeah,
So-
I feel like I've seen Faygo so many places. I felt like I've at least tried some of it sometime, but if it's could be very possible. I've never had it.
Yeah, I think like the only Faygo I had, it was like cola flavored. So it was like, oh, that tastes like an RC Cola, Sam's Choice. It just tasted like pretty generic. So we are going to rate these on slurp, sip, or spit, whether we want to keep drinking it or this is something you could pour down the drain. Steve, why don't you pour us our first glass?
All right, our first will be the Faygo cream soda, the one Ben's most excited about.
Yeah.
The one I'm least excited about. Not for any real particular reason, other than I think I just don't expect Faygo to be good.
Okay.
Faygo just to me looks like. Oh, you got to get the sound effects if you didn't hear that. There we go. Faygo just looks so cheap. I don't expect the soda to be good.
No.
So if anyone out there who's a big Faygo fan, I'm sorry. Just market your bottles better.
Yeah. So it was kind of like murky looking when it was in the bottle, but it's actually pretty clear.
Yeah,
I think I'm just seeing seeing like a reflection of its label or something.
So another interesting thing about these, 3 of them are clear liquid, or at least like clear
to white.
Clear to white, yeah. And the other 3 are your classic like butterscotch colored looking cream sodas. So I wonder how that, because right now this Faygo just looks like seltzer water, which seltzer water is probably my least favorite thing on the planet, other than the Munsters now. So how are we doing on smell?
It doesn't smell like your classic cream soda. Like I see what it's going.
Yeah, this smells kind of like just candy that's been melted down to liquid form.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be very good. All right, Faygo cream soda.
Cheers. I may have put too much in this. Actually,
That's not bad.
not terrible.
Yeah.
I've definitely had better. But it's not seltzer watery per se.
No. I almost have like a.
I think it goes down fairly smooth, very bubbly, a little too carbonated.
I there's an aftertaste of almost like a Christmas cookie or something. I don't know how to. A ginger?
I definitely wouldn't want a whole glass of this. I think the amount I poured is just the right amount.
Okay.
I don't know if I would put it quite in the sip category, though. It's better than I thought, but I don't love it.
I'm willing to say whether I will sip, spit, or slurp, but I think after I've tried them all, it'll give me a better idea of what's
we can hold
what's
up
good
on the
or not.
rankings.
So yeah, okay. All right, Faygo.
All right. Oh, you know what? That third, I got a bigger gulp. The last gulp I had, kind of, it's wearing off.
Okay.
Maybe just the excitement of having the first cream in my mouth. All right, so this is the Canada Dry Vanilla Cream.
You can't talk over it. You gotta
Oh, sorry.
announce it and then crack it next
You're
time.
right.
This one is what I think will be the worst.
Oh, this doesn't look like there's bubbles in it at all.
I got some.
Oh, there we go.
Just much smaller.
I might have put too much in there, sorry.
Ooh. More fragrant, but not cream soda fragrant. For some reason, I'm getting... I don't smell the beach, but it reminds me of the beach. Like maybe a funnel cake being cooked or something, or a waffle cone.
So, yeah, I'm having trouble picking up the aroma a little bit. Interesting.
All right.
Certainly less carbonation, it seems.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh,
That's not cream soda.
no. I don't
But-
I don't know if it's ginger ale either.
I don't hate it, but it's not cream soda. It was a shock at first.
I'm like, I recognize that there is flavor in here, but I'm also not getting a ton. Like, this is pushing salsa water to me.
Kind of tastes like a candy or something.
Yeah.
Or
But
not a candy, a cereal. Like a...
like a
Yeah, some sugary...
like I'm not getting much of anything.
That's... That's interesting.
I can't imagine this being a seller.
I mean, and Canada Dry went real hard in the last few years of going, we got a cranberry, we got a this, we got a that. So they just started doing everything.
Like, I imagine ginger ale mixes really what, like, if you're in like making a cocktail, ginger ale and like alcohol would be good. I don't know what I would pair this with.
I think it would just have to be like a vanilla vodka.
Yeah.
Something simple like that.
I'm not getting a ton of flavor. Yeah. All right. Next, we have the A&W cream soda. Our classic baseline cream soda, the one I expect us to go like, yeah,
Yep.
it was cream soda.
Yep.
Nice little pop. This is a plastic cup, or a plastic bottle, I mean.
Yeah, we had 2 liter, 20 ounce, and now this is also 20 ounce. Then the last 3 are glass bottles with
yeah.
bottle cap. So this is a nice pea color. Okay, that does smell like cream soda.
Well, yeah. I would say it's not as strong as the Faygo, but stronger than the Canada Dry.
What?
Huh.
What did they do? That doesn't taste like cream soda at all.
Yeah. I'm not getting any cream.
And we're here for cream. Come on. It's not gross, but it's not cream soda.
I gotta say, I didn't expect it, but Faygo's climbing the ranks here a little bit.
Yeah, with those first 3.
Because I thought AMW would be like the easy, like, you know what, even if you don't love it, everyone kind of likes it.
Yeah.
But this is lacking in the cream department. Yeah, it almost tastes like it was a cream soda, and then you put a bunch of ice in it, and it watered it down.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's what I'm getting.
And you have like kind of funky tasting tap water, so you have funky tasting ice.
It's tap water cream soda.
That doesn't bode well for you, A&W.
Like, it's getting better as it goes along, but not by much.
I'd still drink that over the Coke Freestyle cream soda, the Barks root beer cream soda, for sure. So what's that? This is
Next up is the Reading Draft, or Reading Draft? Reading,
It's
probably?
Reading.
Reading, yeah. Reading Draft Vanilla Cream. Handcrafted since 1921. Premium Reserve Soda. Caffeine-free, pure cane sugar. 12-ounce glass bottle. All right. It's got a nice little design bottle cap with the barrel on there. Let's see if it's twist top. Oh, it is. And I talked over it again. Sorry. It is what it is. All right.
Oh. That's medicine. That's cough medicine. It's just very, very sharp. I could tell this is going to be real syrupy.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's always the thing with cane sugar stuff. It's a little bit thicker.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Gross. That's Robitussin. This is.
See, I'm not really getting medicine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certain. I think it's a step up from the other two. I'm not sure if it reaches Fago, but I'm not getting the medicine you're getting.
No, yeah, that tastes just like cough medicine. Not a fan.
Maybe I just like very specific cream soda. Maybe I'm not as big as fan of cream soda as I thought.
Maybe just
people just no one knows how to make a good cream soda.
yeah, maybe it's that Walmart off-brand cream soda that we just love so much.
It's just all sugar. It's all this cane sugar.
I mean,
that's
this is
like
all.
good for-
None of this is diet. None of this
Yeah.
is zero. This is all pure sugar. There was one thing I think I was able to get, or there was like a zero sugar version of something. I was like, you know what, it's probably going to be inferior no matter what. So I didn't bother with those.
I don't hate those. I'm not getting what you're getting, but it's not quite what I'm looking for.
All right, what's next?
All right, next up we have Boylan Bottling Company cream soda.
How do you spell that?
Boylan.
Oh,
Established in 1891.
Boylan bottle, right?
Boylan Bottling Company, yep. All right. Oh,
Got some fat head going on.
yeah,
little...
got some fizzes going up there. All right. If being a cream soda connoisseur was a job, or if it's not, and I'd be the first one, there might be a market I can tap into.
My problem is my taste buds are so messed up. I don't have the nuance to be like, oh, there's notes of clove in here. No, I'm like, yep, that's cream soda.
Yeah, I've never had alcoholic cream soda. I wonder.
There's got to be.
Yeah, I'd be interested. Like, would it
Actually,
pair
I think-
better with wine?
There's, what's the like not your father's?
Not your father's root beer. Yeah.
Yeah, they do a cream soda and I think an orange cream soda as well.
Hmm,
Yeah, I didn't grab any orange cream because it would be so different.
interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm getting some cream smell in there. Not bad.
The most bubbly, the most tangy on my tongue, I'd say. Kind of boring.
Yeah, it feels like how I imagine it. Like, this is the champagne of beers. Like, this is the Miller High Life
Okay.
of
Cream soda.
Of cream soda. Yeah, like it's a little bit fancy. It's a little bit bubbly. It's for the upper echelon of cream drinkers.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make it good.
No.
You know.
I think maybe this would be good if you're doing your ice cream floats with it because it is so foamy that you would get a pretty big reaction. But I'd say it's better than the last, but I don't love that one either.
I think because I just took a big gulp versus I think the smaller sips I'm not getting as much, so I need to take bigger sips.
Okay.
I mean, I know we're on the last one.
But we'll be able to go back and retry.
All right, so the final one, which is one I have had of these six, is Genuine Hank's Gourmet Vanilla Cream Soda.
Which I'm pretty sure I have had, but not in a long time.
Yeah.
Oof, I'm getting all gassy. Oh, this one's clear too. So we only had
okay.
two that were brown.
The bottle made it look brown.
Yeah. Interesting.
Oh.
Now, that Sam's Choice that we get, have you poured it out of the can?
It's not Sam's Choice. It's
Or
Great Value.
Great Value, whatever.
I have not poured it out of the can, so I don't know.
I don't know what it is
It could
either.
be clear too.
I bet it is clear. I bet it's cheaper to do clear.
Probably.
I mean, Fago's clear, so.
There, yeah.
Oh, I'm smelling that.
Yep, nice vanilla smell.
Mm.
Fairly bubbly.
Yeah, that coats the tongue. You feel it doesn't taste like vanilla bubble soda. This is cream. This is smooth.
And I think I'm a big believer in
the
Give me more
delivery
of that.
the delivery device of sodas.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when it comes to cream soda, the optimal is probably the glass bottle.
Sure.
But I mean, it has to be like cool in the refrigerator, nice and chilled, and drinking.
But we haven't gone wrong with cans.
No.
We haven't had a can here, but the main cream soda we've had has been a can version, and can is generally one of the best ways to have any soda.
Yeah, I mean, I typically go can
Yeah.
everything, but I think cream soda. But I don't know if it necessarily enhances the flavor, but I feel like cream soda is like it's like just below beer. If you know, if you
Okay.
like, it's like that cream soda and root beer are in the same family, where it's just like, oh well, if you're a kid and you can't drink alcohol, then you got to drink root beer and
Yeah.
cream soda, and like all those kind of designs have like the classic old timey 50s 60s like makes you feel kind of older,
Sure.
kind of. So that's what I like about cream soda and root beer is like the vibe of it also, where you're not getting that with other sodas unless it's like
7-Up.
Coca-Cola like in the bottle.
I'd even put ginger ale in the family. They're the oddballs that, and I would maybe even say Dr. Pepper, cream soda, root beer, and cream soda, ginger ale. They're all in the same family because like they don't really have counterparts really. You have your Sierra Mist, Sprite, 7-Ups, your Mountain Dew, your Mellow Yellows, but like root beer is just root beer, and cream soda is just cream soda. I don't know. They're just the misfits of the soda world.
Well,
I really like that. And when you're talking about delivery method, all these bottles are clear, plastic and glass, but this last one is a brown bottle. And it does help protect when it comes to light. If it's exposed to light, it changes, the molecular components. And the main reason why all beer is pretty much in brown bottles.
yeah, I mean, of the designs, I think it also has the best cover.
It's simple. I could see that on a
Yeah.
black t-shirt and it would look stylish.
I mean, I think the A&W sort of has like the most like modern look.
Sure.
Like you'd see that on the cover of like it'd be comparable to like the look of a Pepsi, where the Reading Draft is your old timey look, and the Boylan is kind of like an in between of like
that's the
old-timey and new.
hipster,
Yeah, it's like
small
this is
batch
this
local
is the
brewery.
sign. Oh, exactly. That's what I was about to say. It's the sign of above a brewery.
Yeah.
Where like Hanks somehow managed to do all three of those
Yeah.
things. I feel like
Classic, timeless, and modern.
yeah. So Hanks Gourmet crushing in the cream soda.
Yeah,
department.
absolutely. Now, would you say it's better than the Great Value?
In terms of looks or taste?
Taste.
I think so.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
Because even with the Great Value, like we've discussed, we've had bad batches. And maybe some of these are also so foamy. Excuse me. Some of these could be bad batches as well. But yeah, if I could have this flavor over even the good flavor of the Great Value, I would choose this.
Yeah, I think the only thing that holds the Hanks back is that it's in a glass bottle, and not that that it affects the taste. It's that I feel like even though they're both 12 ounces, I can probably drink 3 cans of the 12-ounce cans, but I can only drink maybe 1.5 of the bottles from just like, oh, this is too much soda.
Yeah.
Something about it being in the can and like looking smaller makes me feel like I'm okay drinking more.
I could guzzle a can so easily compared to guzzling bottles.
Where bottles, like I'm slow sipping it over time.
Yeah.
And then by the time I'm
warms
done, I'm
up
like, I don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
So that's
are we in agreement? Hanks is the best of this lot?
yeah. So Hanks is getting rated a slurp.
Yep. I'm gonna rank them 1 to 10. I'm sorry, 1 through 6. I'm gonna put them in order of highest to lowest. That's how you say that for both of us, because I think we're gonna vary on some of them. But yeah, it definitely gets a slurp.
I'd say Boylan gets a sip.
Okay. Boylan, I'm gonna say Boylan for me is
Compared to Reading, which I know you hated.
I did not like. it was better. But I think Fago. I think the first three may be better. No. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's my number 5.
Okay. I'm going to say it's my number... Let's say it's my number 4? Hang on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say 4.
Okay. So Reading is my 6.
Yeah, I know you hate it. I didn't hate it that much. That would be my number
5 or 3.
3. 3. I liked it more than you.
Okay. The A&W was perfectly fine, but not what I was expecting. That's gonna be
because it was my biggest disappointment. I don't know how it lands. I'm gonna say, I'll put that at number. I'll put it at 5.
That's your number 5. That is my number 4. Then Canada Dry.
Canada Dry, I'd say, is my 6.
That's your least.
That's my least favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my number 3. It's not a great cream soda, but of these, I'd rather drink that than some of the other ones for sure.
Yeah, but I'm here for the cream soda.
I get it.
But since we didn't go over it, Hanks,
Slurp.
Boylan, I'd say was a sip.
That's a spit for me.
Reading is a sip.
No. Reading is a spit for me.
A&W and Canada Dry are both spits for me.
And those are sips for me.
And last but not least, we have
Fago, which is both of our number 2s.
Which is both our number 2s. And even though I wasn't too hung up on it in the beginning because of the other ones, I feel like it may have earned a spot in the slurp category.
I think so.
It could fall easily into the sip category, but as of right now, I'll say, just for the sake of 2, 2, and 2, Fago made it up to the top, which is, I can't believe the one I expected the worst was actually second best.
Absolutely. Now, do you want to try mixing all of them? Put a little bit of each one and see how that tastes?
Okay, let's do that. Just a little dab, because I don't want to fill this glass.
No.
Bloop. Bloop.
Perfect.
All right, folks. So we are mixing up 6 cream sodas into one and seeing how they fare.
Yeah, like, do they level each other out and make just an okay tasting cream soda? Does one thing poison the well? Like, when I was a kid, did you do suicides a lot with your soda?
No, I mean, I think I had to try it once or twice, but that was not a thing. Like, after the first time, I was like, well, that was kind of gross. And then I tried it a second time, and I was like, yep, that confirms that it's gross. I never went back.
Well, showing my age here, when I was a kid, there was no such thing as free refills. So you go to McDonald's, you got your little cup, that was it. You go to Denny's, you get your drink early, but you better save it for your meal because there are no refills. So when refills became a thing, it was a revolution for all of us little fat kids. And then when you could fill it yourself, like you go to Chuck E. Cheese and you can fill your own soda, I absolutely did suicide all the time, and I loved it. But I secretly hated it because I always added root beer, and root beer poisons the well. It's just such a strong flavor, it kills everything else. But I really like doing suicides. You get something like a Dr. Pepper and a Sprite mixed together, that's great stuff.
See, my problem is I always felt like I've never been like shy about sugar, but when you do all of them together, it feels like, oh, this is just, it's no longer a drink. It's just flavored sugar.
That smells like shit. That smells like pure medicine. Gross. Nasty. God. You freaking Reading draft. Yeah, you bastard. Okay, some of the medicine's going away.
We got a nice, like...
it's an okay color. It's
now we've got a champagne, like an actual champagne cup.
Or a cider.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually.
Not bad.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
This might be my favorite.
The spit bucket, the mixture of all the stuff. Yeah, that's not... I'd still
Suicide cream soda?
Not
Maybe
bad.
number 2.
This would probably be 4, because I can still taste the medicine in it.
Maybe you just have a higher palate than me.
I don't know.
Because I didn't get medicine from the Reading draft
I don't
straight.
know. Maybe it's just like the medicine I had as a kid was
Mm.
different than when you. I mean, we have a pretty big gap between us.
But I think like all these combined really accentuates the cream, which is my favorite part of the
Yeah.
cream soda.
Yeah.
Like when I drink cream soda, I don't want soda with hint of cream. I want
Mhm.
cream that's just bubbly. you
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
Sorry for the mastication. If that drives anyone nuts. But yeah, this is actually pretty solid.
So we are in agreement. We like Hanks. We like Fago. Then we're kind of split. I like the Canada Dry and A&W. You like the Reading and the Boylan. We're actually like automatically, absolutely flipped on that. So yeah, Hanks is coming up champs.
The cream rises to the top, and Hanks is that top cream.
We love Hanks cream. So we have two more sodas that are just for us.
Palate cleansers, stuff we've been meaning to try, but
Yeah.
haven't gotten around to it.
2020 Mountain Dew mystery flavor called Voodoo. They come out with this every Halloween.
And Mountain Dew Flamin' Hot, a dew with a blast of heat and citrus. And other natural flavors.
Is it going to be flaming? Will it taste like a flaming hot Dorito, flaming hot Cheeto?
No, I think it'll taste. My guess is kind of like what are those red? A fireball.
Okay. Oh, you think it's going to be more cinnamon?
Well, I think the cinnamon's gonna be subbed with a citrus, but it's gonna be reminiscent of that. I think it's gonna be, because I mean, it says a blast of heat. The heat could be the cinnamon.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be spicy. It's going to be tomatoey lime.
Oh, there is a lime on there. Yeah, I see that now.
Yeah.
But but Mountain Dew is lime flavored.
Lemon lime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's start with that one. I'd rather get that out of the way.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna like the Voodoo better.
Probably.
Nice. Man, and I got like a spray, and instantly I felt the lime.
Yeah. All right, do it.
I'm not getting much spice. I'm getting the lime.
Yeah. That is
Honestly,
misleading.
better than I thought,
Yeah.
but it's better than I thought because there is no heat.
Yeah. It's like I'm waiting for the heat to hit me.
I'm trying to figure out what would be.
Okay, I get a little tingle in my mouth, but not.
Yeah, I got a slight tingle in my nose, but I just thought that was the carbonation.
Yeah, this is not heat at all. I think this would make for like a good margarita mix.
Yeah. I could definitely see this being like some sort of slushy kind with with some tequila in it.
Yeah. It's not bad at
Yeah.
all, but I'm not gonna drink that to quench my thirst with my
I think it's a great looking can.
Yeah.
I think the design is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
The red and the green and the yellows really pop. Fire's always a good look, but I needed something more here.
Yeah.
Because I've had like jalapeno beers and like I've had spicy flavored liquids.
Yeah.
But there's just nothing hot or spicy about this.
It's like they were too afraid to go full force because like a flaming hot Cheeto is fucking hot. And I mean, everyone's taste is different, but they kick my ass. And that isn't even close to flaming hot.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with anything sort of like spicy drink is you buy it for the novelty, and then you have one, and you're like, okay, this is probably the only one I'm going to drink of this today. And then you spend the next 4 months drinking them over a long period of time. But this, you could probably drink one a day.
Sure.
Or maybe even more, depending on your love of the flavor. But I needed heat.
I don't see
whether I
how
liked it or
this-
not is irrelevant. I needed heat.
How did this get past like general testing with Mountain Dew? They really thought like this is the thing to release. I think they could have called this something else.
Yeah, not to put my white people in like a box of stereotypes, but that stereotype is just like, oh, there's mayonnaise on this. It's too spicy.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel. Like there was an old 50, 60-year-old white woman in a test group who tested this, and when like the lime hit her the wrong way, and she's like, oh, it's got a little heat to it. And like now just like, oh, that's fun. We'll do Mountain Dew Flamin' Hot.
Yeah.
But it's just like
extra lime flavor.
Extra lime, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say I would just call this like, tropical margarita, something like that, or lime margarita Mountain Dew.
Yeah. Or
That's
like
disappointing.
even if you don't go the margarita route and just do like, you could kind of pitch it as a hot thing, but not in like the heat sense, in like the culture sense. It's like Caribbean lime.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
it's a fun tropical drink, and
Sure.
you could have sort of like a hot sort of thing on there, but not say it's like
Flaming hot.
yeah, flaming hot makes it seem like it's gonna burn your tongue.
Yeah. All right, now let's do Mountain Dew Voodoo.
Oh, that was a good pop. Good pop.
Now, I've heard what people think this tastes like, and I can already smell it.
I haven't heard anything, so I will be the judge of that. So don't tell me what people have told
Okay.
you. I'm gonna guess what I think it is. It smells familiar.
Yeah.
I've definitely smelled this before.
You definitely have.
Is that blue raspberry?
I see why you'd say that, but
You're gonna tell me what it is, and I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, now I hear. Now
now
I taste it.
don't think of it as this is a generic flavor, banana, coconut, something like that. Think of it as like a brand. Like, oh, this tastes like Fruity Pebbles. Oh, this tastes like Skittles,
No, I mean now I'm kind of getting Skittles. Now that you said it, you tell me, and I'm gonna be like, of course.
Sour Patch Kids.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah. I like that. That's good.
yeah.
I would drink that again.
Maybe that's what you do. You just name them random things, and they're all mystery flavors, and that way, like, no one's disappointed when it doesn't reach a certain thing.
Okay.
You just call it whatever, but really, this is our blueberry flavor. This is our, it's like
Yeah.
but you don't ever have to really say.
Yeah, because it's like the other one, like Code Red, okay. Red, cherry, obvious. Live Wire. Well, what does a live wire taste like? Oh, is that hot? Is that spicy because it's electricity? Or, blackout? You wouldn't think blackout is great. Oh, is that blackberry or something?
And now that there's Mountain Dew flavored alcohol, how is there not an alcoholic Mountain Dew called Blackout? Like, that's what you do.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to encourage it.
True.
Yeah. But that was fun, and I hope I find some more cream sodas, because I want to do like another 6 of something completely different, and then we'll...
We got to keep a comprehensive list, though, so
Yeah.
we can... If there's one guy or two guys on the internet who have all the answers to your cream soda questions, it's going to be us.
We're going to be masters of this.
People are going to stop listening for our talks on... Yeah, I mean, you come for the movie, TV, books, all that stuff, video games, but you stay for the cream.
Yep. I come for the cream soda, then the cream soda makes me come. Well, thanks for tuning in. If you want to get in contact with us, let us know what your favorite cream soda is, and what about your favorite alternate brand of Mountain Dew. I'm just a fan of plain old Mountain Dew and Baja Blast. I know Steve likes the regular Mountain Dew and an occasional Code Red. What's yours? Do you like the Major Melon or whatnot? Or if you have the best cream soda that's a local thing, you could only get it in a small store in your hometown, let us know. We will drive out there. No, we won't. But we'd like to hear your thoughts. So hit us up at WRPLpodcast@gmail.com, or on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, WRPL Podcast. As always, I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve.
Good night. Get him an electric train. He loves that shit.